Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I was just thinking of what game we're playing. I was about to do the intro for the wrong game. Today, we are carrying on with our new campaign playing Mongoose Publishing's 2nd edition Traveler RPG. This is the one of the updated versions, I should say, of the classic science fiction role-playing game. We are playing through one of their adventures, the module Borderland Run, with some modifications, of course. And with me today is the crew of the Rift Wanderer, the vessel that will be taking on this voyage through the Borderland Run. I'll go the order. I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? First up, we've got Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Alonso Santoro, the illustrious published author and space adventurer.
Very nice. Next up is Carl.
Hello, I'm Carl. I'm playing Anchor Guvel. He is a Varger, I guess, engineer, pilot, all around handyman, handy Varger.
Nice, handy pup. I don't know. Next up is James.
I'm James. I'm playing Gani, the captain of our ship, the Rift Wanderer, and part owner, and a guy who's had many careers but really wishes he's still in the Navy.
Nice. Next up is David.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I'll be playing Dr. Ilyas Abdel, the ship's doctor and other part owner who has recently swapped the ivory tower safety of the lab for wild adventures in the unknown.
Nice. And last, but certainly not least, is Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham. I'm playing Dane Loverick, ex-Black Ops Marine, and now, unexpectedly, occasional business accountant.
Nice. Yes. The all-important, taxable deductions. A very key part of any space adventure. So last time we had, it's been a month for those listening at home. It's been a month since I think a month, maybe longer. No, it's been only a month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Since we last played. So let me bring everyone over in the order I've got you guys. And we'll talk about the what happened last time, perhaps with some visual aids here. Oh, there we go. I just need to bring, Anchor over, actually. Hold up. So what happened last time, guys?
Well, we loaded up a bunch of mail and meat cargo, also known as passengers.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to meet them. I honestly don't remember their names or anything, but I do know there was some kind of a union buster and some company people on board, which was creating a bit of tension.
There was a union member.
Guy. Yeah, sorry, a union member.
Yeah.
Who had been retired for a long time and was, for some reason, back out on the road. Oh, I guess their names are on the board.
They are.
Yeah. And Cassidy Paller, I remember her because she was a young reporter.
Yeah.
That.
And Eldon Hobbs was a bit of a, as I recall, something of a noble and a little bit out of sorts. I think the practicalities of, putting on his own trousers and so on was a little bit difficult. That's the impression he gave.
Yeah.
Right.
He's originally from Drinax. Do you guys recall
Where
anything?
the pirates come from?
Will come from. What do you guys recall about Sirkani Skier and Tim Bertalwi, if anything?
So Carney is the business, she's high up or middle management in the PRQ that's running the ice world we're going to.
Yeah.
I think Timbur is an engineer or some sort of expert in his field that's on his way back there as well, after maybe some R&R on where we're currently leaving from.
Yeah. Yeah, the water world, what do they call it? Something whales. And, I've got a handout, I think.
And there were a bunch of other passengers in the low cargo, but they are frozen. Is that correct?
Yes, they're on ice for the whole trip.
Yeah. And in there, there was one gentleman who had a possible heart problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we used our standard disclaimer on that.
And here and here and here.
We just got the points in law. Let's see how good that release is. Okay. Then anything else? Spurl. Spurl was the planet, I believe, that you were coming from, the water world.
Yeah.
So then we ended our session with a bit of the crew set up a bit of a welcome ritual. We spent the session determining sort of how you welcome the passengers on the crew, what it looks like. Alonzo had a fair amount of drinks with Mr. Milter.
Yeah.
Cassidy secured herself, as did Timber, in the holds. I believe Dane found Sakani making use of your weight facility, which is right around here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I think the last thing that happened was Captain Gani stepped in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some critter on board.
So I think that's where we will pick it. Did we miss anything, guys, to bring Carl up to speed?
No, don't think so.
No, I think that's...
Okay.
We are projected to make a significant and worthwhile profit on this run to Argona, by the way, just in case anyone is concerned about the finances.
Oh, you did notice something, Dane, about Sakani as well.
Right. Oh. She's
tattoo.
She's military, or she's. That's right. She is either military or she's ex-military, which is not unusual for the sorts of hiring of sort of business middle management. I think that's right, wasn't it?
Yeah, she. I mean, whether it's normal for them to be in middle management, that's another question. But she definitely there's a corporation in the region called the Trojan Military Recruitment (TMR) that basically does like canned mercenary squads, and part of that stuff is to try and create a false or like a fabricated esprit de corps by creating these tattoos that all sort of match up with all members of the corps, but of course they're like pre-generated and that kind of. So it's not unusual if people leave that profession to have them removed, and it seems like hers was not removed. There's enough of it left to still be semi-visible for what makes. You can't tell what unit or whatnot she was in, but you could tell that's sort of what all of them look like. It's like if you see a fuzzy logo from a well-known brand, you're like, okay, I don't really read it, but that looks an awful lot like Coca-Cola, As for her going on to like from that kind of career to middle management, that probably is unusual. You don't join the TMR unless you've got really no other options, because it's sort of, it's the corporate equivalent of like French Foreign Legion. You don't know necessarily where you're going. There's discounts they give on green troops because they're not as effective, and if you like, they're not. It's not necessarily a a complete, meat grinder, but,
They don't take convicts.
They would take convicts. Oh, yeah.
They would.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That sets the level. Okay.
Yeah. So it's, so leaving that is not exactly like you're leaving a prestigious organization. If you went into perhaps another organization that shared the same kind of goals and valued those skills, maybe then you would go in. Otherwise, she may have had a very unusual path, which...
Indeed. And she's done... In that case, she has actually done really well for herself.
Most definitely.
Really well. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, most definitely. So, great. So I think what we're picking up from is I think where we left everyone last was Alonzo, I believe, was upstairs. Dane is hanging out in the common room here. I want to say he was watching football, but I don't think that's right. I remember you guys saying there was a screen in there, but I don't remember what he was watching. I don't know. But
It's going
there's
to be recorded, whatever it is.
yeah. So you're in. Dane is in there. Gani was in the cargo area where he stepped in it. You spent about an hour trying to find where. This was after spending an hour trying to find where you heard something drop when you felt you were alone in the cargo area. Dr. Ilias and Alonso, were you upstairs still?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds
And
right.
then Dr. Ilias and Anchor, where would you guys be in? This is day 2 of the expected to be week-long trip through the jump.
Yeah, I guess Anchor is either in his quarters or on the bridge, just doing some checks, making sure. I know everything's automatic, but you never know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Okay.
he's probably just going through his routine, making sure everything's okay.
Okay. And then for Dane, or for Dr. Ilias?
I think last we saw him, he was reading Alonso's book and just relaxing in his cabin.
Right.
Taken in by that, taking a break from his medical files and everything. So
Okay.
that's where we pick up. He'll be just relaxing.
Okay, so you're in your cabin, and then we assigned cabins last time as well for everyone. So we had, I've already forgotten. Where is everybody? I think because there's 3 cabins down here, and then I think Alonso, you were up here, right?
I was in the one connected to the lounge.
Oh, in there, yeah, right. Okay, because you were the steward.
Yeah, I'm the steward.
Okay, Dane, were you upstairs? Is that who I'm thinking of?
I was the one bottom left, so I was the one nearest the main entrance to the upstairs.
Got it. Okay, that leaves there are remaining 3 down here. Do we remember which the captain was in?
I'm in the middle one.
The middle one, okay. Dr. Ilias and
I think
Anchor.
the one on the left.
The left. Okay, so the Anchor.
I
This is
guess
your
I'm on
bunk
the
here.
right. Yeah.
Okay. Then where I think we'll pick up things is with Captain Gani coming back into the main room. Dane, you're in there watching, whatever it is you're watching, and you have freshly discovered the scat that you had stepped in, Captain Gani.
Yep. So there's some critter on the ship. I went and stepped in its mess. So I walk across to the ship's locker there in the corner of the room and get my shotgun out.
Okay. Oh, one thing, I think we mentioned this on Discord, but just as a reminder too, there is in the new High Guard, and this may have been in the old one as well, I just don't remember seeing it, but there's a great little blurb about the ship's locker. Every ship has a ship's locker, because we talked last session about what would be in there. Usually located near an airlock, cargo bay, or bridge for the convenience of the crew. Typical equipment within includes protective clothing, vac suits, weapons such as shotguns, pistols, and cutlasses, ammunition, compasses, and survival aids, and portable shelters. The contents of the locker are defined by the referee only when needed, but they always contain vac suits and other useful items. The ship's locker is usually protected by a biometric lock keyed to the ship's officers. So the purpose of the ship's locker, it says abusing the ship's locker. The purpose of the ship's locker is to provide useful mundane equipment on demand so travelers do not have to keep track of every single flak jacket and toolkit. It's not an inexhaustible supply of free stuff, nor is it a magic box that produces whatever the travelers happen to need at any given moment. The referee should sternly refuse any unreasonable requests regarding the contents of the ship's locker. It is a tool to simplify bookkeeping, nothing more. So those low yield nuclear weapons that I'm not going to point fingers, but you know who it is who sent me the email about it. No, you can't get those in the ship's locker.
Oh.
Of course, it was Dane. So then you get your shotgun out of there. Dane, do you have any?
I carry my stub pistol, and
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you let Anchor know, he'll put on his claw glove just in case and get his snub carbine out.
Okay.
I'd love a trank round or two, but I suspect I haven't got one.
That's probably not something that would be in the ship's locker.
No,
I don't think. But it's I do respect the negotiation. You start with something unreasonable, like a low yield nuclear device, and then you step down to something that seems a lot more reasonable. So I appreciate the hustle. Am I crazy that do Vargar have scent kind of abilities?
I believe they do. There's something
Heightened senses, yeah.
Yeah.
Better hearing and sense of smell than humans. You receive a +1 DM to any recon and survival checks they have to make. However, their eyesight is worse in darkness, and they suffer DM -1 to any skill check requiring sight in dark conditions. It also says that chocolate acts as a nerve toxin. That's weird. So, yeah, so I'm assuming you remember we've got there's two kind of there's the wide broadcast comms that you can use in the ship to try to like broadcast everywhere, or you can touch the wall and just broadcast to someone. I'm assuming that you guys do have comm units that would function within the ship too, but I picture that there is easily accessible stuff in the walls to be able to transmit to one another. So if you just kind of like, you know, touch the wall as you're getting the shotgun together and you let Anchor know, then he can come away from the yep. What do you call it? Desk.
The bridge, yeah.
Yeah. The desk, yeah, bridge. Okay.
Again, I'm just disturbed. He can't get out of there anyway, so.
Yeah, there is.
He's got the old version of the ship without.
I forgot to load the. There's a new version that actually marks the ship's locker as well. Okay, so then, what's the strategy here, guys? I think we'll use this as a skill. What is it called? Skill chain? Task chain.
Yeah, task chain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, look, Anchor, I've been out there searching and can't find it, except it's clearly there. So why don't you use that nose of yours and see if you can track it down. Don't know what it is. Might be small, might be big.
We shouldn't have it, right? Our manifest doesn't say that we should have something like this.
I spared you my singing, but that's immediately the song that got in my head. Okay, so the way skill chat.
I tell the captain, you do remember I'm a spacer, right? I'm not a Vargar Marine. But I will do as you ask, or I will do as you ask, Captain.
It's probably just a space rabbit. I wouldn't be too worried.
Look at the bones. What you
maybe the author might know what kind of scat it's from. He's well traveled. Maybe he's been on a safari or two.
Are you coming to get me?
We'll call you.
Okay. Oh, as soon as you call me, I'm like, ooh, something on board. Exciting.
Because you didn't smuggle anything on board, did you, sir?
No, but that's a good idea. Make a great chapter.
You're excited to look for some shit? You're already stir crazy.
Shit is just the start of the trail, Captain. Hoping to find something exciting on the other end.
None of the passengers brought on a pet, did they?
You did the search of their belongings in the.
I didn't see.
Yeah, the ocular pat down for them, and they did not seem to have anything on them. No.
Okay.
Maybe we should go look in the low berth compartment on the opposite side of the cargo hold and make sure nothing weird happened there as we then search around the cargo.
Mm.
Yeah. I guess it's airlocked, so I don't know. It's odd. So it suggests that it would be something that in the cargo that just kind of stowed away. What do you think?
Go have a look,
Donnie? Huh? Yep.
Okay. So then, it is. I think it's going to be a recon.
Yeah.
Check here for everyone, and then the way this is a refresher. The way the task chains work is. Again. It is.
Apologies, I don't have a snub pistol. I've only got a high velocity Gauss rifle, so I think that might. I'm hoping that's going to be overkill, so I probably won't have that.
I think a handgun would be something you might be able to find in the ship's locker.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a simple. If you're like a slug thrower, you're thinking.
I'm thinking for on board, it might well be a snub pistol, so it's low velocity.
Yeah,
round.
so
Yeah,
low
it's just not going to go through the hull.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then you go. So I don't know why I just saw the. Here it is. One thing. Here we go. Okay, so task change. The way that it works is everyone is going to be working towards an ultimate high roll here. So who wants to be the last one to roll?
Who's got the best I don't have good recon, but I do have. I only have a -1 because of my heightened senses, and yeah, like I said, I didn't go through Marine or survival training in space or terrestrial.
I don't have recon.
I didn't have either, so -2.
Okay. So this
No one
is
has, okay. So no
these
one
are going to
has
be
recon.
average tests.
The doctor has it. If someone calls the doctor from.
Yeah.
I have survival and I have investigation.
Everyone's
knock on the
racing
door.
around trying to find this thing while Dr. Ilias is carefully reading his like, oh, this is good.
Maybe Dr. Ilias can identify the poop.
Yeah, actually, do you want to start with that? I mean, I'm not sure. I think that the likelihood of this, I don't think he had been to Spurl before, so for him, it'll be, I think, a very difficult test based on...
We don't have any.
It's a good excuse of why we might have gone to get him, though.
Yeah, and you never know, right? So...
Yeah, maybe he has like a gadget.
Do you
like
have
a
biology for
or
science?
something?
No, I have chemistry and genetics.
Okay, so I think you still get the at 0 then, right? Like science is one of the... Is it one of the chain skills where you've got the base science at 0 and then your specialties?
Yeah.
So why don't you give us just a base science roll then?
Any modifiers?
No modifiers, no. Yeah, you're not quite sure what this. I mean, unsurprisingly, right? Like,
Yeah.
is that it's this scene from Tremors where everyone keeps asking that the young geologist what it is. She's like, "Why do you keep asking me?" So you bring her out. You look down. It doesn't seem as if it's as I described before. It's the it's about what you would expect that a like Cocker Spaniel sized animal would leave behind.
Now, this is how travelers made it all this 40, 50 years. It's having a crew of 5 standing around looking at some dog poop.
I'm sure there's
Drama.
I feel like there's a Keith Brothers illustration of that somewhere.
Dr. Ilias will sort of look at his comments like, no, in my notes on Spurl, they didn't mention any dangerous animals there, so we don't have to be concerned, right? Nothing
Yeah, we all have our guns
venomous
out.
or toxic would have come on board, right?
That's absolutely right. From what you recall, there was nothing. I mean, it was mostly a water world as well. So, for something to be on the ship, I mean, it's either something that lived on the limited amount of land, or something that was like like the cane frog in Australia, something that was brought to the planet inadvertently
Space
and has
rats.
thrived. Yeah. Yeah. Who knows what? You're not sure as of yet what this thing might be.
Well, I guess if Dr. Elias actually has recon, then he probably should be last.
Okay.
All right. So I'll sniff around.
Okay. So you get +1 to this because there is going to be a certain funk from this thing, but I think it's going to be difficult.
So a +1 in addition to the heightened senses.
No,
Yeah, I
+1
suggest, why
from
don't
the
we-
senses.
Okay.
Why don't
Yeah.
we make a line across and work away from the top of the bow to the stern,
Okay.
going through all the available...
And I'm actually
Yes.
I said
Between
8 before. I'm going to make it a 10 for each of these, only because there's just so many fucking places for this thing to hide. So it'll be this. Hopefully, you guys will get some benefit from having enough people looking at it. So go ahead, Anchor, whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay, but you only failed by 4, so it'll be -2 to the next check.
Yeah, I think it's this way.
Yeah.
When's the last time we cleaned the cargo hold? Kind of really, it really stinks in here.
Who would like to go next?
Could I roll tactics
To try and set up? Yeah, I'd buy
try and
that.
basically coordinate the group as best as possible. No, you over there. No, watch that line. Watch that line. Come through here.
Sure. Why don't you? That'll be an 8, I think. To coordinate a search is just an average task, but you're gonna get -2 as a dice modifier.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
They're sort of
yeah. So it's a minus what? Sorry.
-2
On the roll.
on the roll. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
it.
I just haphazardly wandering around, chasing
Of
smells.
course. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so success is +1 to the next dice check.
Nice.
Okay, so I think everyone sort of like wanders all over, or just kind of looks at one another like, do we? And you're like, okay, this is you're a long way from the squad of who all in a routine formation can drop from orbit and land within the
I'm in the zone now. I'm after a target though.
Okay,
And I can use my jack of all trades for this?
you can, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sweet.
Oh.
Yep, and you
Nice.
get +1 on this.
Oh, nice.
Just remember, don't put a plus sign. A plus sign makes the world implode for roll 20.
Right.
An 8, so we're carrying forward that +1. Captain Ganny, you have any ideas?
Well, I've already had a look around, so I'll go where I haven't been before, in the hopes of
Okay.
that's.
No.
So that is a fail by -6 or more. So, Dr. Elias,
So I'm back in the cockpit trying to find it.
-3 to your recon roll, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's a pretty good roll. Pretty good roll. So you guys spend about an hour of searching over, every nook and cranny without actually like taking, bulkheads out and whatnot. And I think, let's see here, who rolled? Captain, you are the one who is nearer the end here. I think like when you're trying to find something lost, you keep going back to the same place over and over and over again. You're just like trying to will it to show up where you want it to be. Mm-hmm. That seems to be where you find yourself when the door or the bulkhead opens up and you see Mr. Melter kind of wobble out of the thing. He looks at you. He's a little surprised to see you. Were you?
Mr. Melter, I think it'd be best if you head back upstairs, back to the upper deck. I'm afraid, not safe here in the hold.
Not. And he looks down at the gun or the cutlass at your side. He says, "Well, what do you mean not safe?"
Well, all of the cargo stored. I mean, we store it properly, but you never know if there's any turbulence in any way.
I think out of the corner of his eye, he
Plus, we
sees
seem to have
Dane walking along with a gun out, at the ready.
Yeah.
Is there something I should know?
nothing to be worried about. There seems to have been some small critter has got on board when we were loading, but it seems to be very small, but we need to clear it out.
He immediately starts laughing. And he said, I gotta tell you, and you realize he's still really, really drunk. And he insists he needs to tell you about the time on Argona when there are ice worms that make their way, through there. And like, let me tell you. And until you sort of intervene him and like, this is not an opportunity for you to tell this story, sir. He begrudgingly goes back in and heads back upstairs. He says, if you could tell Alonzo the bar needs to be restocked. And he makes his way up. So after an hour, you guys all reconvene. There's not even a sign that you find of any other spore here either. So where that came from, what may have been knocked over, you've got no further insight right now as to that.
Well, maybe it came on and then came off. So
It could very well be, yeah.
maybe it's off the ship.
We set up anything in the hold, like any motion sensors, or set up some, cams, some extra cams, just sort of plug them in. Is there anything we can do?
So there are cameras on board for all the common areas that regularly, record stuff. I guess, like, you could, if... As far as having the gear for it, I don't know if you guys have other gear, but you could, you guys have some capable engineers with you. You could, I guess, retrofit, like, yank them from some areas and set them up in here.
It's just a thought.
What do you guys think? It would mean that there would be certain areas of the ship that would not have coverage then. The common areas I'm picturing being like the passenger lounge, the corridor for the passengers, the cargo bay, the area here.
Well, we have cameras in here.
And the bridge. Yeah, there's like all ships have automatically kind of have cameras on.
Well, we can maybe examine that, see if there's any footage there.
Sure. Would someone like to go through that stuff? And remember, you can take extra time on these tasks. You get a bonus to it.
Yeah, I got. I can go through that. I mean, it's fine.
Okay. So let me think.
I have a really good computer score.
Yeah, I think.
Is it computers or electronics?
There's sensors, comms, and computers.
Oh, right.
I think sensors is to ships. I'm just having a look for it.
Yeah, I think that like computers would probably be like an assisting thing to set up the, to like either like brighten the footage or to set it up in such a way to maybe detect movement or whatever way you want to process the info. But actually looking, if you're going to sit and look through the stuff, I don't know if there's anything other than recon for it. But
well, I guess in the Dr. Ilias is the one who's most qualified to look for data.
Who's got? Because what I'm
He's
thinking
got
here,
recon. Yeah, he's got recon.
is that someone can set up. We're not going to do it as a task chain again, but I think what you could do is, doesn't assistance just grant a boon on a task normally? Working together. Here we go. Oh, okay. No, it says maybe it's just using the task chain. So why don't we do this? Who would like to use the electronics computers to try and set up a like an algorithm or a program to search through the footage?
Sure, I have a 4, so.
Oh, well. Yep.
Sure.
I rolled electronics like 1,000,000 times when we were making our characters.
Okay. So why don't you give us a
for this
computer
moment.
check here?
Okay, here we go.
Oh, and then also Jeff just as a reminder, if you want to take more time, I'm picturing this taking an hour to kind of get this together. If you want to take 4 hours doing it, you'll be gaining a plus 2 to your check.
Yeah, I don't think I spend that much time on it because I'm also trying to work as the steward, so.
Okay. Nice. All right, so that would the difficulty would have been an 8 on that, so that beats it by 3. You get a plus 2 on recon for whoever is going to be reviewing the data.
Nice.
I'll review the data. I think Dr. Liz is probably quite used to sort of sifting through patient files and
Yeah, go right ahead.
test results.
Would
So
investigate
again,
be helpful in this case too?
Would which story, Carl?
Investigate. Like it says, watching a bank of security monitors in the starport is
Ooh.
one of the investigate.
Yeah. I think.
Okay.
Let's see here. Yeah, no, that's absolutely
Searching a crime. Clearly, this is a crime scene.
Yeah, so this would be 1d6. Investigate actually, I think would be even better. To be honest, that seems to be more like one of the examples is like watching a bank of security monitors in a starport, waiting for a specific criminal. That's exactly what you're trying to do, right? Is do that. So it'd be d6 hours, and then it would be investigate and intelligence. Who's feeling good about that skill?
I have plus 2 on that.
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well say we were working together. I also have investigate, but rather than me doing all the roles, you might as well be doing the investigation part if I was doing the computers part.
Sure.
Okay. So
And we've done this together before, right?
Oh, right. We have done this together
You learned
before.
investigate, I think, from me.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So there we go. We got the pairing. So
2 hours.
2 hours. Okay. And let's see how you do here. And this will be 10. It'll be difficult again, but let's see.
And I get his die chain bonus, right?
Yeah, you get the +2 from me.
+2. Yeah.
Oh,
Man. But you're fairly close to it. So I think what you maybe what you notice, you don't spot anything per se, but what you find is over the course of like just looking at hours and hours and hours of footage aided by this stuff, you find that there is there's some kind of like there's a housing maybe somewhere in here that deals with the venting of something or other. It might be just for circulation of air or cooling or something like that. It actually seems to be a little askew. It doesn't seem like it's on there, and you just kind of think the algorithm picked up movement, but it didn't see it. Like it's not night vision on the camera, so it's tough to see when there's not lights on. But it picked up movement, which drew your attention to that one spot on the ship, and when you look at it on the camera, you can see that this thing has seemingly fallen off. So if something, say Cocker Spaniel size, wanted to fit its way in there, it could be in there, which means that something might be in the guts of the ship.
Oh, great. I let Dane know.
Okay.
I go, Dane, we found something, and I give him the location of the, assuming people, like we're probably like in the office or on the bridge doing this, and although I do have a personal computer that could patch into everything, but it's probably easier.
wherever, and this is
probably the office is probably
we were talking last time too. Like these first sessions of getting our characters comfortable in the ship. It's a cool way to kind of set up what the SOP for everyone is, where they would normally do their work, what their kind of habits are for these types of things. And with at least 3 ex-Navy or Marines, I think you all are used to relying on habits to kind of keep your sanity over the course of these long trips. So where do you think Anchor would be doing that?
I would probably do on the bridge. It's the most room and the most access to cameras in the ship's brain, right? So I think we're on the bridge.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm sure. I mean, we're all partners here, so I'm sure Alonzo's familiar with the bridge.
Yeah. Well, and we don't want to do this where the passengers can.
Yeah.
We don't want to alert the passengers or worry them.
Do we allow the passengers to wander down into the cargo hold? What was that? I thought that was odd, but I don't know if that's what you guys established before.
No, not usually. There's a gym down there decided they could have access to, but
there's a gym in the cargo hold?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were thinking of, like the gym on the Serenity, where it's kind of tucked away in the back. That's sort of what they've got there. So what do you guys make of that?
Maybe we need to think about cordoning that away from the rest of the cargo. You don't want people prying through stuff that's not theirs. But that's just me. Says Anchor.
Oh, I agree.
But we clearly this is not a an ISS naval ship or scout ship. It kind of says. But anyway, let's Dane know about the.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put on the thin cloth that I've got just in case.
And I did get comm dots for everyone, just FYI.
Okay.
So we
excellent.
Nice communication.
How do we get into the guts of the ship?
Well, I'm sure there's like,
Well, you guys justified my purchase of the robot handbooks to pick up a couple of really small drones, right?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
The list, there's a whiteboard in the common area of all the things you guys need to pick up.
Yeah.
Drones.
So then, what do you guys... For some of these areas, it's not easily accessible when you're in motion. It's kind of like you know, the like heavy equipment where it kind of needs to be some of it needs to be taken apart. Ships are designed to have repairs made while they're still in flight, so you can do that. It'll just be with a packed full cargo hold. It is going to be a bit of a mess down here.
Yeah.
Totally doable though.
Okay.
I mean,
What are you
it
guys
could be
thinking?
doing damage to the vessel, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should find this thing.
Yeah. And neutralize it, right?
At the very least, we know it's shitting everywhere.
Yeah. So what's it feeding on?
Yeah, no, I was thinking maybe we could like lure it out with food or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We've got
true. What
plates.
if we set a trap?
Yeah.
Now that's something we can
Yeah.
figure out.
Some nice tasty passenger food. Smelly.
Yeah.
Bring it out.
Yeah, that pate that you
Yeah.
really wanted to buy.
Dr. Elias, would you give us a science check? This will be routine, so it'll be a 6. And it says good luck. Okay, so here's one thing to consider. If you're planning on doing that, what might assist is understanding where this thing comes from. That might inform what its diet is. So, for instance, if you come from a water world, things that have the flavor of like beef or chicken may be undesirable here because it would not be a type of food they would ever encounter.
Right. So if we could
Have we
find some
been serving
fish.
plankton to the guests?
Or what is that? Those whales? Maybe they have some sort of like equivalent of either ambergris or caviar.
Dr. Ilias has a rather advanced medikit. I'm not sure if it's set up to run spore samples and figure out what is contained in terms of digestive.
Let's see. That's actually that's a really
So
good idea.
I don't have a science kit to do, so I don't know if the medikit can also run.
Yeah, you said it's an
So you
advanced
can do blood
medikit, right?
tests.
To run the genetics.
Yeah, it's
to
the
be like
TL12 medikit on page 114.
Yeah.
I quite like the idea that all this stuff about high-tech starports, there's probably cross contaminants of vermin and other stuff which could easily, happened while we landed, and so it's like a space rat or something. That's
Minox.
yeah, exactly.
Make sure they're not chewing on the power
Basically.
cables.
Yeah.
So here's what I think I'll say is that looking at it, says they have diagnostic devices, scanners, surgical tools, panoply of drugs and whatnot. Basically, I'll let you use it, but not enjoy the benefit of +2 that you normally get.
Yeah.
So once you give us, and this will be just an average check.
The science roll?
Science
Or
1 again, I
medic?
think, yeah.
Science,
Just
yeah.
biology.
Come on, Dr. Elias.
Here we go.
Right
There
inside.
you go. Look
there
at
you
that.
go.
Oh.
So here's something curious: is for some of the substances that are that you're picking up in here, being the the proactive thinker and the research, I guess maybe like the research scientist. While the initial scans were running, and once you give us a 1d6 roll, that'll be how many hours it takes to complete this stuff. Only an hour. Holy smokes. So you, the session is going to last longer than it took you to process a bunch of alien space rat poop. What you find, what you had set up was a kind of like a cross spectral analysis for what might be found in foodstuffs on Spurl. This thing is definitely not from Spurl, because there are some foodstuffs in there that just would not be found on there. So it either means that it's something that's exclusively living off of what it can scavenge in the spaceport, or it's something that was an opportunistic, passenger where just it's scuttled off from one thing, one ship, and then onto another. Definitely not something that is local to Spurl.
Could I cross-reference the composition of its spore with the last destinations of all of our passengers?
Oh, yeah,
because we
good.
did some background checks in them to see if maybe one of them is from the same I don't know if that is possible.
No, I think. Well, I mean, you rolled a huge. That's a 5 degrees of like 5 over the necessary target. I was going to ask you if you had any other questions. I think if you take that and you sort of cross-reference for what information you have, it does. There are a lot of common elements from some of them, but there is not one that stands out as obviously like, oh, this comes from so and so, where you only have this combination of elements.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem it's been brought on board and released by any one person. And I mean, Dr. Ilias is fairly new to these things too, but like if you're going to sabotage a ship, letting loose a critter on board is probably the least reliable and effective way to sort of make things, you know.
I guess you would also check if it carries any pathogens.
Oh yeah, good call.
From
That one,
a sort of health and safety hygiene point of view.
You can give us a medicine roll at your +2.
Don't enter the plus.
Okay, average test as well. So yeah, there's nothing. I mean, you wouldn't want to eat it, but there's nothing inherent. It's not like it's going to, you know, when it dries out and dust comes, there's something inherently unsafe in it.
Okay, well, in which case I will page the crew, or I guess the captain, and he can pass a message. Say, good news, it's definitely not human.
Oh, it's also omnivorous, by the way.
Relief.
It's
great, it was omnivorous.
It should eat more or less everything. It's not from Sperl. I don't think one of the passengers is involved, and it's not infectious or carrying anything that would harm us.
That's good thinking about the infection too.
So I guess Dane can hunt it in the bowels of the ship, but it should be a simple hunting exercise, nothing more dangerous.
And it definitely has, because of its omnivorous diet, there is actually a benefit to, you could probably attract it if it is going to be baitable with almost anything. Though,
can we have like some bait and like an open container, and I don't know, have like a click release and then it just closes up if we see it going in for its bait.
The one thing to consider, if
we could jury rig something like that, maybe.
If this thing has come aboard from another ship, how easy to trap do you think this thing's going to be?
Yeah.
But it seems to have done a good job of hiding from us from ours.
And of the fact that it's still alive, presumably whoever ship it came off of before.
Okay, if it has to go, we'll have to go in stealth. Start scanning, use that triangulated information from Anchor.
Okay.
Snub pistol. Take the credit down if we can.
Alonso.
Well, what if it's cute?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, all the more sad.
Maybe we can sell it to one of the passengers.
Yeah. Have you checked if any food stores have been attacked? Presumably this thing needs to eat to poop. So do we know where it gets its food from?
Yeah, I could check.
Okay.
I thought when you said meat earlier, you meant not real meat, but the people.
Yeah, I was joking.
Okay.
That giant slabs of beef in your space beef.
Yeah, it's just frozen beef.
Okay. If you check the stores for, which I'm assuming the stores would be in the cargo bay as well, it does appear that at least one of the containers has been disturbed.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, I guess lock that down and try and minimize its capacity to get more food.
Well, and put the trap by where it was eating. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that is it survival?
It probably is, isn't it?
100 trap animals. Yep. Anyone got training in survival?
Yes.
Awesome. Alonso's with a grab bag of bizarre.
And he has jack of all trades. He's very trained.
Yeah. So
Really useful.
Why don't you give us? Is it jack of all trades you're using?
No, I have survival.
Oh, you actually have it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, unless anyone else wants to give their 2 cents in about this, you just give us a survival check.
Ooh.
Ugh.
I've never hunted space rats before.
Yeah. So we'll see how effective that is for the next day. It is around then, because this has been a span of about 2 hours to look onto it, another 2 hours to review the footage, let's say an hour of talking, and then an hour of the processing the stuff. We're about 5 or 6 hours into your day already. The setting... Yeah, setting a trap is probably like a D6 times 10 minutes. So you're with the trap set. What do you guys intend on doing with the rest of your day? If there's anything of interest you wish to do.
I mean, I've been neglecting the passengers, so I probably have to go check in on them. But
Yeah, someone wanted more booze, right?
yeah, but he needed to dry out a little bit. I wasn't in a rush to get him more booze.
Yeah.
He drank his fill.
Are we going to start limiting passengers on how much they can drink us out of our profits?
Well,
I'm pretty sure that they're paying enough that we're profitable whether they drink or not. I think. I don't know.
unless we give them drink fridges where they've got to like pay extra for.
Well, I'm assuming, yeah, you guys have like the it's not an open bar policy at the the old Drift Wanderer. Yeah, he would like to have to pay for a certain point, but he does seem to be, in spite of his, blue collar origins, the guy seems to not be short of money. Remember when you met him, he was wearing a fairly worn but nice, set of clothes. They did not suit or sit well on him, it seems. So, anything else that anyone wishes to do with their time? No?
No, I guess we're still examining, or we're done examining.
You're kind of done. Like, you've got all your stuff. You got the traps are set now. It's just a matter of waiting now. So if there are any other things that require your attention.
Just from a setting point of view, once the course has been set, we don't have to check astrogation readings or anything. It just sort of, unless something happens.
You're kind of stuck, yeah. Like the calculations and the requirements to sort of maintain the field stability. You're sort of in that bubble, and there's very little else to do until you arrive. Absent there being any kind of a mechanical failure on the ship. And when would that happen? Come on, guys.
Well, this critter is
In 3, 2.
is going to bite the jump drive cable, and we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So, yeah, that would be really bad. Field integrity, if it fails, you die. Like, you all die. That's the way it works, unfortunately. So hopefully that isn't the ending of the campaign. We didn't even get to the module yet. What happens, I suppose, the next thing of interest that would happen is after you've put everyone else has settled into their evenings. This is several hours afterwards. No word from the trap as of yet. Do you think you set up any kind of warning for it, or is it a matter of like you're just going to go back and check it when you need to check it?
Yeah, I feel like it's probably the kind of trap that needs to be checked.
Okay.
Yeah, we just jury-rigged it. We don't have like a animal trap that lets us know right away.
Yeah, it's like a snare or something,
Okay. I imagine there's stuff in the locker that you could not like traps necessarily, but materials there you could repurpose. If there's survival kits that are in there, you probably could make use of some of that stuff to make make your trap. You were actually resting in your cabin, Alonso, when there is a buzzing at the door.
Oh. Greetings.
Okay.
Open the door.
Okay. Yeah. And it is Ms. Powler who is waiting there. And she looks, she says, "I know who you are."
Oh, you figured it out.
And she gestures to your Yeah. Well, you write what you know, right? We
I
actually-
play this for escapism, you know.
Alberta is a non-sequitur, but Alberta has this weird thing it brags about how we have no rats here. And it's true, we don't have rats here, but we have fuck tons of mice. So it's great you got no one kind of rodent, but you're sort of it's false advertising to suggest that it's rodent free. We have voles and we have shrews and we have mice, but no rats. When the door opens, so she gestures inside your cabin and says, "May I step in?"
Sure.
So she comes inside and she turns around and she says, "What is it that you're really doing here?"
Talking about.
I've read your
I'm
work.
writing. Yeah. I'm an author now. Have you not heard?
I've read the book. What are you really doing here?
Looking for adventure. Have you
Her
got
eyes narrow.
something?
She says, "I'm not the type to steal a byline from someone."
I'm
Is it
really
that-
not sure what you're after here.
Sue, you don't know about Melter. Is that what you're saying?
I know nothing,
She
honestly.
looks and narrows. You're not going to try and beat me to the byline or beat me to the publication,
I'm not a journalist anymore.
but you wouldn't mind providing advice to one who
Of
still
course.
is.
Oh, of course. He smiles.
Do you think there's a chair somewhere in your room here, like a little?
Yeah, it's probably like a little chair and a little writing desk and the bed. So
Okay. So she
I'll let her have the chair and
goes
the
and
desk.
sits down, and she says, "Is there anything to drink?"
Yeah, I'll probably pull something out of my private stash.
Okay. So with that, she sits down and she says, "Then, I'm taking you into confidence here. And
Ooh.
so, do you know the story behind Melter? What he did before he left Argona?"
No.
Well, he was a big deal within the union there, the mining union.
Oh, yes. Okay, I had some inkling of that.
He also played a significant role in one of the most disruptive strikes in modern Argona history. It's said that PRQ even had a bounty on his head at one point. Did you know that?
I had never heard that. No.
Well, do you find it curious that a man who once was so hated by the corporation and had a bounty on his head, that he was the one who brought an end to the negotiations, and as a settlement for it, to get the rabble-rouser off of the planet to try and calm things down, that was part of their settlement. But what they don't know is that he was paid off. He's been spending 20 years living in luxury off-world on the dime of PRQ. And what I hear is the only reason he's going back there now, and not at his request, is because PRQ threatened to cut his pension. Bring him back, show the good old union guy, and quiet the labor disputes again.
This sounds like standard operating procedure for these corporations at this point.
Oh, it is.
Who do you plan on exposing here?
Melter, of course, and PRQ. They're trying to
Right.
use him to fool the union into settling beforehand. He can't be allowed to do that. They can't be allowed to use him again. there's good people on that planet, and they've been tricked once so far by PRQ.
Yes. You have evidence?
They say the settlement was, a settlement is something that anybody dislikes, but it sure seems that the miners dislike the settlement that Melter helped negotiate a lot worse than what the corporation did.
I found in my history, not only was it my ability to convince people of the truth, but also to have strong evidence to back it up.
I have financial records showing that PRQ has been paying for him, and it seems that they, to make sure there was no bluff, they cut off his payments for a month.
Mm.
Now, I'm sure they're going to say it's a processing error, but not surprisingly, it's a month afterwards when he agreed to take this trip. And I take it you've seen how he's been conducting himself.
That I have seen.
What I've also heard from my own sources is that someone else wants to make sure he doesn't make it back there. If Melter doesn't make it back, for whatever reason, instead of being a patsy to get the Union to agree with whatever PRQ wants, he could be a martyr around which the Union can rally.
Interesting. Do you think the assassin is here on the ship?
I know that there are 2 others on the ship who claim to be PRQ representatives.
That's true.
And I know that there is a Dranaxi noble. And I don't know what you know or have heard about King Oleb. But rumor is that he wishes to try and improve Dranax's standing and try and recapture some of what the Sindalan Empire once had. It's even said he may have found something from that time. If he wants to push himself and the power of Dranax out into the sector or the subsector again, having an ally like PRQ or disposing of an ally like PRQ could certainly be a way of ensuring either non-interference or an allegiance with them. Do you buy that befuddled noble disposition that he puts on? Who could be that clueless?
I don't know. I guess it's been a few years since I've been out in the field, and I'm less suspicious of people lately. You've sure got a suspicious eye on everyone on our small ship.
I would even question your crew. Who was last on?
Whoa. Who would you question of our crew? I know you came in my room questioning me, but I kind of expect that.
What I know is the Vargur you have on board. There's sure been a lot of really strange circumstances that have happened in the Navy, and he seems to be around every one of them. I couldn't get further details about them, but it sure seems that when he's around, things go wrong for people. I don't know if you know about the corporate doctor that you have on board.
Dr. Elias? Yeah.
Genetic experiments at the behest of a planetary nobility. And then what little I can read in Lovric's records, his squad is the kind of thing that the Empire sends to give nightmares to anyone thinking of rebelling. And then I can't tell what your captain has been doing, but he seems to constantly be the bad penny that shows up in some new, washed out of the Navy, washed out of the Scout Service, washed out of the... It goes on. Can you trust any of them too?
I mean, I thought so. Now, I'm not trying to scoop your story here, but would you mind sharing your notes on my crew with me? I'd like to look into them some more.
Her eyes kind of narrow at you. Would you give us a... Let's see here.
Some journalist wants to be spaced when we get to
So would you give us a... I think it's diplomat. Oh no, persuade. Diplomat is a more formal version of persuade.
Okay.
And I'll give you a +2 in this. She seems to, having read your record, she really, seems to... She takes it as a way of like, you're offering to like kind of like read over her stuff or whatnot. She loves that. As much as she's putting on this kind of like hard bitten, young reporter kind of thing, she really like respects your work clearly.
Right.
And, yeah, she says happily, and she pulls out her pad as if you were like waiting. She was waiting for you to do it, and she sets it next to yours and kind of like flicks the finger, and the files all sort of like all transfer over.
Perfect.
She goes, look it over. Tell me what you think.
I will.
She gets up and says, thanks to you for the drink. It's time, I think, to maybe sharpen that suspicion, Alonso.
I was hoping for excitement on this trip. Thanks for bringing it.
She nods, doffs back the drink, and then heads out of your cabin. So, why don't you, if you want to review the information she's got, maybe there's something you can pick up that she missed. You can give us an investigate intelligence check. I don't know if there's anything in the gear there. She's done a pretty good job, as far as you can tell. She's really reviewed all of the all the dots that need to be connected and whatnot. It's an impressive portfolio, and very likely, delving into some very questionably legal means to gain access to some of this stuff. Because she has like a lot of the financial records from Melter, and outside of a court application, she probably shouldn't have that shit.
Right.
You are also able to review some of the more confirm some of the details she alleged with the different crew members. You know some of these guys better than others, and she's just seeing it in the most unfavorable light.
Right. Like, I mean, probably some of this history they don't hide from each other too much, but
no. Well, I mean, Anchor had the connection with some of you guys because of that stuff, right?
Right. Yeah, like the Black Ops stuff, and I know a little bit about Dane stuff as a like one of those pilots who drives the ship's boat, the landing craft or whatever. So, it just, Anchor's just wrong place, wrong time every time.
Exactly. Yeah. From an outside perspective, though, it's like pretty suspicious that this person is always around.
Always around.
Totally.
But of course, that's why in his mind, that's why he's passed up for promotion and officer school and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. So then, Alonso, do you do anything with that information?
Probably what he would do is he will take the conspiracy of the Melter and his involvement, a potential assassin, all that stuff. He'll sort of make up a dossier, like a 1-page report summarizing what she said, and print it out for the crew and sort of distribute it. I don't know if we have like internal email or a message board or something, You know
what she's turned up, incidentally, is actually the service record of, I forgot to mention, of Sir County Skier.
Yeah.
Yes. So they
So
have.
I would include some details of that. I wouldn't include any of her conspiracy against the crew, obviously. But I would definitely include all of the stuff about our passengers, and just especially for Dane to like maybe look into like if there's a potential assassin on the ship here, that could be very bad for us.
Yeah.
If our maiden voyage has a murder on board.
I mean, you're going to find Dane is really warm to Melton. I mean, he's supposed to be a hate figure, but not for Dane. Dane sees him as a bit of a hero, given where Dane has come from. And he's interested in why he got turned. That is interesting. But I don't necessarily believe, Dane will not believe just the sort of surface story that he got sold off and sent away. It could be true. It could be true. But I think Dane's going to say, well, no, hang on. He's kind of trying to support the workers. He was trying to do something, and then something stopped him. And now he's coming back. And his view is going to be much more slightly nuanced in that direction, I think, than immediately assuming he's just a bad boy coming back for more cash. But
right.
I will. But given that, I'll be interested in Serkani's.
Well, then you would also have good reason to protect him.
Yeah.
If someone is here to do him harm.
I think so. Okay, he might be a drunkard and he may have been out of it, but he did good things.
So, Skier's record suggests that she did multiple tours with the what is it called? TMR. And many of them were actually, it seems, at least the last two tours were with facilities that were, or they were retained by PRQ. She has since apparently taken the position with PRQ. And while her official job titles are kind of that like vague corporate speak for you're not quite sure what they do kind of stuff, the assumption is, or at least from the notes, is that she is part of PRQ security, corporate security.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you guys would know, if you think of the worst sort of excesses of, Cyberpunk or Shadowrun corporations or mega corporations, you are absolutely in the right vein to think of what the corporations in the Reach are capable of.
Oh, yeah.
The Trojan Reach is...
I mean, that's kind of what I was imagining when he just said, well, this is corporate, practice 101 here, right?
Yeah, and like the Reach itself is beyond beyond the reach, of the Empire or the Imperium,
so even darker,
and outside of the reach of the Hyrate as well. So you think of the worst excesses of like Pennsylvania coal towns, with that are company towns, and then also add in that it takes you a week to get anywhere else. You're on a hostile planet where you may need to have air, let alone food. So imagine when the company town is setting the rates for your oxygen or rates for your fresh water. That is sort of what you're dealing with in some of these planets, particularly a planet like Argona.
Yeah. Workers.
So I mentioned that only to give you an idea of what the scope of corporate security looks like. This is not the person who is necessarily checking to make sure you're following the IT protocol to not click on bad links. This is the person who shows up to like, oh, this person is potentially a problem. They need, a laser blast to the head. Potentially. She could very well be. Maybe Errol has very sloppy, email protocol. So we can assume that you brought this information to everybody.
And made it in a digestible form.
Yeah. So what do you guys make of this? What does the crew make of this?
He doesn't tell us that she's like, quote unquote, on to us, or does he? He just talks about the assassin and right? Is that correct?
Yeah, Alonso, you would know how everyone, at least you would have a sense of how everyone would react to this. Some of the people you don't know as well as others, because it's only been a few months that you guys have all been traveling together, but how much do you think you would let them know that she also has a perspective on the rest of the crew?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think I wouldn't bring that up at all because I see that as like her journalistic mind and the way it works. And I guess I read a little less into it than I'd be concerned they would read into it. And I'll sort of watch that aspect of it, and they should watch the crew or the passengers. Like, I'll watch them if they watch the passengers, kind of thing. Like, I don't think I'd say anything about that.
Mm.
I think her concerns are legitimate. Could this just be fanciful imaginations? Someone chasing their first big break? It's the world I'm very familiar with.
That feels true to me. I mean, you know, there's a lot of unanswered questions. He was very big, and then he was nothing, and now he's back. Why did he become nothing, and why is he back? We don't know the answers to those questions. Maybe we should ask him. But
yeah, maybe he wanted to talk to us, you know.
If he's in danger, we have a duty of care, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you think it's the this Skira person, or do you think that person is there to protect? Right.
It could be either.
Yeah.
I believe, you know, there could be some shadiness to any of our passengers.
True.
And why is he drinking? It could be habit, of course, and it could be wealth.
You know,
habit. You know,
taking a deal like that goes against your very, you know, nature can leave a scar on the soul that maybe he's filling with liquor.
And then
you know?
and then coming back to the source of that.
Yes, it's probably hard to handle.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to believe it's just that the money train has run out and he's trying to find another way, but it might be that.
Could be.
Mm.
What?
Well, it would probably good to talk to him, I would say. See what.
Yeah, sorry, Carl. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, maybe he has the suspicions too. Maybe someone's been following him. That he, you know, maybe he's drinking because he knows he's going to die, or feels he's going to.
It's not unreasonable.
It's not at all unreasonable.
In terms of the amount of drinking he does as well, like, medical science has advanced to the point where, like, I think whatever sort of long-term, like, cirrhosis or whatnot that would come from alcohol consumption is something that could be relatively easily addressed. So if you did want to, be a booze hound, you wouldn't drink yourself to death the way you might in a modern era.
Right.
However, I know that Dr. Ilias did do a medical checkup on everyone too. So if you did want to see for that would probably be evident in his records.
Right, and there might, even if they are using medical means to correct a drinking problem, Dr. Ilias might be able to see that on his history.
Absolutely, yeah. There would be some telltale sign of whatever, whether it's a medication or procedure or whatever. He's on his 6th liver, as it were.
Yeah, I'll have a look at his medical files.
Okay, so using. Yeah, I think you could. We'll assume that you used your advanced medical kit when you did that. So why don't you give us a medicine check at +2? He has been living pretty healthy. So you rolled incredibly well. What there is for one, you don't see any evidence of either long-term abuse of any kind of substances, nor do you see any evidence of corrective measures that were taken to address the deleterious consequences that come from that kind of addiction or abuse or whatever. What you do see is, with a roll that good, the very, very early stages of what suggests that in the last month or so, this person has been really hitting the bottle, amongst other things too. Whatever sort of, casual, drug use that is present in the, the far future. He's also taking some of that stuff. All either alcohol or it is what do you call it? Not analgesics. What's the word I'm looking for here? Depressants, not stimulants. He's not, cranking space cocaine or whatnot. It's a lot of like,
Yeah.
So. Downers. Thank you. I'm like, what's my hip slang stuff? No, I don't know. So that's what he seems to have been, and that all seems to be fairly recent. Like the way he's been hitting the bottle since getting on board probably started about a month ago.
This seems to be a new development for him.
Yeah, which fits with being, brought out of a cushy retirement and forced back into a stressful situation.
Looking at the medical records too, this guy's been living pretty soft. He's very well fed. He's, for his age, pretty fit. There are some. You can see, again, like because of the way medical technology is, you can have certain things corrected, but like there are long-term injuries that he would have had from mining that were corrected using kind of slapdash, future tech, and then he has subsequently had certain other things corrected. So he had a long-term back issue that was managed for a bit, that was then further improved with more advanced surgery. So whatever he's been living for the last 20 years, he's probably had an enviable quality of life.
Had access to some pretty good medical care.
Most definitely.
With the being paid off. Alonso, or maybe the others, are there currently massive labor disputes on Argona? Would PRQ feel it necessary to bring him out of retirement and use him to quash any? Do we know anything what's going on there at the moment?
It is the story that we've heard. There is truth to that. Absolutely.
Captain.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's a long time. It's difficult, isn't it? How much cachet does he have still with the movement? There's lots we don't know. And it just seems all very, I don't know, very tenuous.
On the practical question, Captain O'Dane, can we confine passengers to quarters? Is that a function this ship has? I'm sorry, I'm not very familiar with traveling, but, for like isolation or in case we have to prevent passengers from killing each other, can we individually lock rooms?
You can individually lock the rooms. I don't think as a standard you can like hit a button and then lock all the doors, but you can do that. Like you could override the locks and lock people in their cabins if you chose to.
Yeah, for their own safety, obviously.
Yes, if it came.
Right,
Assuming.
Yeah, we can even use the excuse that there's a dangerous animal on board. We don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's enormous.
If, certain parties start questioning or trying to get out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the lounge is such a great place to go to. Yeah. I don't know.
Dane, you checked their gear. Did any of them bring weapons on board?
No, there was nothing. There was nothing untoward about anything that they brought on. Of course, and you can see his eyes glaze over. He has a misty look in his eyes. It says, of course, there's carbon monofilament knives, there's wires. And he starts to go through a big list of ways you could kill people.
Which seems less speculative and more recollection.
more reflection, yeah. Yeah. He goes a bit cold and thinks, yeah, anything could happen, basically.
Who among you do you think is the most conspiracy-minded?
Probably Anchor, right? Anchor has been living with conspiracy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I buy that. So then, Anchor, what if this is misdirection from her?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He'll definitely bring that up then.
Sassy little.
Like, what if she's just playing us? What if she's the assassin?
Ah, the femme fatale. Yes.
Misdirection generally brings success. That was certainly always our watchword. Attack where you don't expect.
Mm-hmm.
It's around then that you hear call from somewhere else in the quarters, and this is a general call from over the things, and it's the voice of Eldon Hobbs. Mr. Alonso, Mr. Santiago, it's Eldon Hobbs. Might I see you? It's not. They're not supposed to use the ship-wide broadcast, so.
Yeah,
But it's Eldon, you know.
I guess. Yeah, we'll go find them.
Okay, so we will see what Mr. Hobbs wants after our mid-session break.
Okay.
So we're already there. Jeez. Okay, so we'll be back for those listening at home. We'll be back momentarily.
anyone trained in vac suits in the crew?
I think I am.
I'm vac suit 0.
In which case, I think Dr. Ilias will take some vac suit training from.
Yeah, I've got a vaccine.
All right, great. Yeah, I think
vac 1.
he's realized that space is dangerous. Knowing how to handle one of these might be useful.
I've taken recon. That's my skill.
Yeah, it's probably take recon next.
It's so useful.
Yeah. At least get it at 0, right? So.
Yeah. It's always the quiet ones, isn't it? And we've heard nothing about Timber. He's been,
Yeah.
I'm thinking
True.
if there's someone who wants to turn him into a martyr, Timber is. I mean, this might be too obvious. He might be the one to do that.
Yeah.
To want to do that.
Yeah.
Sirkani would have every reason to keep him alive if she's PRQ through and through, and they want to use him to quash their labor disputes.
Yeah. Or they're the assassin.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Had a little disagreement with Anna. I wanted her to take her medicine, and she wanted to spit out a pasty white medical goop instead, and we had to come to a resolution of that. All right. Then, where we left things was with Mr. Hobbs calling you.
We're kind of getting used to this. Maybe not him through the speaker system, but him needing his handheld.
This particular, we joked about, writing what you know. This particular twist comes from me this week accidentally sending a Microsoft Teams invite to everyone in my firm instead of the 2 other lawyers that I intended to. My firm has a presence in, I think, 120 countries too, so suffice it to say, I got to meet a lot of people this week. A lot of us, who are you and why am I going to this meeting at 6 in the morning?
Yeah, whatever crazy time it was.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So he sends, if you agree to go meet with him, he will get off of the what do you call it, the shipwide comms.
Yeah.
anything you guys wish to do before you break your strategy meeting about this apparent conspiracy?
Should someone go and talk to Errol, like right now, in case all of these things are going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe someone should check on him. Do we have any?
Where do you think this conversation has taken place? Is it in the comms area or the like common room for the lounge?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you guys have called up the footage before of like tracking different places, I imagine that on the screen, instead of space football, you've got instead the feeds from the different cameras. So you could take a look and see if he's elsewhere on the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you flick to the passenger lounge, that's where he is.
Excuse me.
Bless you. He's there drinking alone.
Does someone want to talk to him? And who's best to talk to him?
I mean, if you want to keep it more civil, but me or you probably.
Yeah. Different angles.
Yeah. I mean, we both could talk to him and see what we get, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking the one-to-one might go well.
No, but I mean, like at different times.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll follow you in there.
Okay. Well, first we got to go talk to Hobbs and see what he needs.
Yeah, okay. Or maybe actually I speak to him first and maybe
Sure.
appraise him of the potential danger and then you go in after.
Okay.
Okay. For the rest of the crew, anything you guys wish to be doing with this time, or are you going back to your regular tasks for now?
I think we could listen in. I mean, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
I think I might I'm sort of feeling a bit nervous now. I think I'm going up to the passenger lounge and have a spring water.
Okay.
I think I'll check on the trap.
Okay.
Dr. Ilias will, seeing as Dane said, no one brought any obvious weapons on board, he'll assume they'll try something much more subtle, so he'll go through his medical supplies to see what he has antitoxins for, just in case he needs to administer something rapidly.
There's a wide world of just horrific shit that can be administered. I mean, imagine that one of the preferred ways of assassinating a rival in the Renaissance was crushed glass. But imagine what nanobots could do from the inside out. Captain Gani, what are you making of all this? This has been a much more eventful trip than what you had signed up for.
Well, I'm mostly bothered about the critter in the vents in my ship. I hate all politics and conspiracies and everything. It's been nothing but a pain in the arse my whole career. So I want nothing to do with it. Because he's got a reputation of being very to the point, straight talking, straight, and because he just wants to do his job and everyone leave him alone.
Yeah.
So he's going to be off watching the cameras and trying to find this critter instead.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, so you're furiously looking at the the footage of the cargo hold. I love the idea of that. He gets up from the desk and walks away from everyone. Everyone's thinking like, "Oh man, he's got such complex depth to him," and all he's fucking thinking is, "Where's that god?" He's effectively got Elmer Fudd's level of complexity. Where's that wabbit? So what we'll do then is I think Dane and Alonso, you head up together. Anchor, I can tell you there's nothing in the trap as of yet. But it also doesn't seem like it's been triggered. Nor is there anything further missing from the stores. So, in the past 8 hours or whatever, nothing has triggered any of that stuff. Alonso, you're going to be passing Eldon's room before before Dane gets into the lounge. So if you knock on the door, he answers, and his place, he's managed to try to make his place look a little bit more regal than before, but it's not a great. He has not done a great job of it. Whatever skills he has certainly are, interior decorating is not one of them. And he says, "Oh, thank you, Mr. Santiago. Please come in."
Of course.
So he brings in. He says, "Now, forgive me. I have not traveled on a ship such as this before."
Right. We know.
So I may be. Is there something in the walls?
Yes.
Yes.
Where did you hear it?
And he races over and he points down at sort of a corner near the bulkhead of his ship. Down here. I heard something scratching in there.
Yes, we seem to have a creature of some small nature that is snuck onto the ship.
A creature?
Yes, a mouse or a rat or whatever I would say that's,
Yeah, that's probably
the space equivalent, yeah.
Vermin.
Vermin, nothing to be worried about. We will get it.
And you can see he is sputtering and trying to come up with a appropriate way to try and frame a look, you might not mind living with vermin, but he's unable to really articulate that because he's trying to be polite. You need not make any rolls to tell he's very, very flustered by this.
Right. Sir, of course. Have you never seen a mouse before?
I most certainly have not.
Well, welcome to space.
Space mice?
Yes, not everything is as easily controlled here in space as it is where you're from.
This is a discrete environment, is this not the definition of an environment that you can have full control over?
Well, you would think, right? But no, it's not.
He seems genuine, like he could have hit him in the face, and he would have the same stunned effect of your response of well, you think so.
Yeah. Well,
No.
don't worry, we are on top of it. You need not concern yourself.
The worried expression that he has as he looks from you and back to the place he gestured from hearing the sound from, and looking around at the rest of the hull, tells you that while he will not say anything, he most assuredly will still be worrying.
Yeah, I know, I get it, but I mean...
And then he just sort of hangs there in silence for, as if trying to figure out how best to respond now that you've told him, we're doing all we can do.
So I think since he's already knows and whatnot, I think I would go just on the comm from his room to the crew comm. Like you said, we can just message the crew. And I would say, the creature has reached the passenger quarters.
How did you do that? He's seen you adjust the comm so it only responds to one channel.
Don't worry yourself. This is...
You can hear the sounds of Captain Gani clomping his way towards passenger quarters, cutlass in hand.
Yeah. Section 4, running environment, clause 302. Vermin on board is an accepted part of spacer life, and it should not be a cause for alarm.
So you contacted the crew channel?
Yeah, the crew channel, just to let them know what's going on, why we were, paged, and also so that someone could go take a look here.
You tell me if you guys think this is correct. Because Anchor sprang for the microbeads, maybe if you guys are walking around the ship, you could assume you've put that thing on.
Yeah. Since we've got this incident ongoing, and this other stuff, we probably have started using them.
So that patches into everybody. So you can assume everyone on the crew hears that.
It's been spotted in Mr. Hobbs' walls.
Spotted. Heard, sir.
Heard.
And you guys can hear a panicked Eldon Hobbs saying, shouting from... It's like when someone's shouting at someone while they're on the phone. Heard.
So if someone could come up here and take a look, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So you sort of step into the lounge, and this is when this call sort of
I'd
happens.
probably bring him into the lounge with me now, like get him out of his room.
Sure.
That'll relax him maybe a little bit.
So Dane, I think you can picture you walked into the lounge. You made your way over, grabbed your drink. You were going to go and have a seat with Errol,
Yeah.
and then this call comes in. Errol seems eager, like anybody who walks in the door. He's got that like, huh? Ready to welcome you, to share a drink with him. But then you get this call, and then when you, do you guys picture you close the bulkhead between the lounge and not the bulkhead, but like the whatever it is, the hatch between the lounge and the hallway at all times, or is it?
Yeah, probably. Both for like just keeping the noise down a little in there and from getting into the passengers' sleeping areas.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a full lock by the look of it as well. It's yeah. So it's there for security as well, I think.
So you're the reason I ask is because I think it might be when you get if you're intending on going to look at that, you get over there, you open the lock, and you can see that Alonso and Hobbs are heading towards you.
Yeah. Okay. I will make a point though, as I leave the lounge, is turn to Errol and just say, "Let's catch up with you for a drink sometime." I've been busy, but let's talk. It's a long journey.
He perks up and says, "All right." Ah.
Catch you later.
Okay.
And then head off.
Okay.
I don't know, start tapping walls or something with a stethoscope, and I don't know. I try and reassure him.
Sure. Yeah, if you go in there, I think you need not make a recon roll for it too, because as much as you listen in, you don't hear anything.
Okay.
You try and cool down, or not cool down, but like lessen the what do you call it? The ambient noises and whatnot, and even if absent of stuff, you turn the glass in his quarters upside down and hold it up against the bulkhead. I think that while you're not necessarily you haven't spent decades on this ship, you've spent more than enough time on ships to know the ambient noise of a ship, as opposed to when something is moving around in it, and you don't hear anything moving around in this part of the ship.
Yeah, I'll reassure him. I'll say, Mr. Hobbs, I can tell you now that they aren't around here. They're around here. Although, having said that, I look him sort of straight in the eye and say, they're always just only 6 feet away from us, though, aren't they?
So I think if you've done that stuff, where were you planning, Alonso, on taking Hobbs for the drink? Is it to have a drink with?
Oh yeah, just to go to the just to get him out of his room for a minute while we can investigate it. Make him think we're doing more than we're doing. Really,
So,
if he
when you walk into the lounge, he looks over. He says, "Al and L." Perfect timing. Yeah. Dane's going to come back for a drink in a moment. Join us.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll come over and how does Eldon look about sitting with Errol? Is he
he's
nervous?
Another stage of shock of like,
yeah, he's just like, okay, I think since he's like, sort of just worried about this creature more, I'll use it as an opportunity to maybe like sit them together. And
okay, so you sit him down. Yeah, and then he pours a drink in front of him and pushes it over. Errol seems quite comfortable falling into the role of, like, you were the one who was setting everyone up and whatnot too, but you get the sense this is, like the guy who regularly has people over at the house and regularly kind of serves as the host. I mean, we've all known friends who are like that at one point. That's what this guy falls into immediately. Now that he's comfortable with the bar and whatever else, he's the one who's sitting down and asking about drinks and whatnot, and he manages to get a little bit of stability out of Hobbs. He even makes a joke out of the drinks. He's like, I hear they got some fancy stuff here too. And Hobbs maybe ventures a guess on something, and it turns out that while Dr. Ilias does not partake himself, he does have he has insisted on keeping some prime reserve on board for those who have the sophisticated palate to be able to appreciate it. And as such, Hobbs is actually pleasantly surprised. So there is something served. And as a surprise to you, Melter seems to know how it's supposed to be delivered, too. He's got a rough-hewn exterior, but this is the guy who can, tell you about the different varieties of wines or whatnot at length. So, again, this may speak to the comfortable life he's had for a while. So by the time you come back in, Dane, to tell him that, you see that Hobbs is enjoying a drink, Alonso has a drink, and Melter is sitting down with them too, and is sort of falling into that sort of slurring, war stories kind of territory once again. What you've seen him do when he first came on board too. And once you tell Hobbs that that's it, and Errol says, yeah, you see, nothing to worry about. You were probably hearing some things. It's your first time in one of the old ships, isn't it? And Hobbs, yes. There you are. You may not know the sound of something crawling around in there, and something that is just it shifting. And Hobbs says, but he did say there was something crawling around in there. And Errol says, oh. Does it bite? And Hobbs says, they bite? And he looks at you. I'm sure it's well in hand.
No biting.
Yeah. These things come.
Maybe some licking, but it's.
Errol can pick up that you're trying to make a joke of it, and he laughs along, and then sort of hits Hobbs in the shoulder. And he, realizing that it's not a joke at his expense and they're laughing with him, kind of loosens up at least as much as you've seen him since he's come on board.
Right.
So with now a bit of a group together, or at least now that Errol has drinking buddies, he is fully leaning into it and keeping everyone's drinks very generously poured for as long as you're willing to stay with him. So what do you guys do? I'm going to spare you the long and nonsense stories that he tells you. I will say that if you're listening to it, Alonso, only with a journalist's ear, one thing he doesn't talk about is the labor troubles that led to him leaving.
Right, his past, really.
He does. He does talk about his past quite a bit. Like, he'll tell you stories about guys he worked with or ladies he worked with or whatever. Like, there's lots of back in the day when we did this kind of thing happened. It was crazy, you know? But none of it about the labor disputes. It's all about, like, his time serving in the, in the mines.
Right, the social aspect of the job.
Yeah, the social aspect, or the practicalities of just, like, being a miner. The crazy shit that you have to, if I'm working a 16-hour shift, like, I didn't think I could piss in my pants as much as I did, but you got nowhere you can take the break from. You got to be hermetically sealed. So what are you going to do?
Right.
So that's sort of where the conversation is with him. You guys can feel free to direct the conversation in any way you wish.
I suppose my angle will be, your memory is really strong. I guess they were really life-changing, forming memories for you back in the day, back in the mines. But it's great. It's interesting. It's been so long. And they always say, don't they? They always say, never go back. You're going back.
You think he gestures at you? You think you could go back to the service now?
No. I don't think so. No. I've had my day, and I certainly could not go back.
No. And he gets a pretty, bleary-eyed, drunken, kind of wistful look. And no.
It wasn't all good. It's never all good. There's always things that, things that you regret, things that didn't work out. That's just life. That's just the way it is. And I've had my share of that. I guess maybe you have too.
Yeah. But we choose to focus on what we... Yeah.
Yeah,
the good memories.
Yeah, okay.
The bad have done their damage. No need to revisit that. We just carry on.
You don't think they'll flood back though by going back to the planet?
His eyes kind of once again kind of glaze over. He says, "Oh, have you been to Argona before?"
My first time.
be careful with that first breath, because you don't know cold like that. It's cold.
Okay.
He gestures at you, Alonso. The writers like to talk about scenes that can take your breath away. That first breath, when you get off the ship on Argona, it's like something standing on your chest. When that cold gets in and you're trying to stop the pain and get the oxygen going, there's nothing like it.
Wow. Have you been to Albi?
No.
Similar experience. Your first step off that ship. It ain't ice, it's smog. But it goes for the lungs in a very similar way, I think, probably.
Thing about it, though, is that first breath, it's hard. But you get... We don't have that smog. It's clear.
Yeah.
Cold. It's like a... You ever had that perfect, cool, purified water? It's like that.
Yeah.
Not in the mines, of course. You know, or a breather or an air processor. It'll be like your world, I imagine.
Yeah.
Sure, we're lucky to escape the mines like you did.
Luck ain't got nothing to do with it. You take what you earn and take what's owed. That's a miner's way.
Yeah. Stronger together, eh? Stronger together.
Always. Always. And he bangs on the table and he, taps back up and he realizes that on like one of the things that sort of is standing out from this still like poorly maintained like fancy clothes that he's got a little pin for the mining union. And he taps that. Definitely.
Yeah. Together or lost, we used to say on Albi.
That's a good way of putting it. It's a good way. And he's just swirling his drink in front of him, kind of eyes off. You guys can... What is it? What's the skill we're looking for here? It's our... Not
Yeah, we're like... It's like Insight, but whatever this game's version is.
Yeah. I think...
Best I've got is leadership, which is a way of being able to see people and their potential.
I mean, I have Streetwise.
Yeah.
Streetwise might be good. Yeah.
I think Streetwise or Investigate, perhaps.
I have both, yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Recon, I guess at a pinch, it'd be a higher target number for that. What are you guys thinking? What skill would you like to...
There's Carouse, which is like...
I mean, you're putting your hand on his knee?
Read... Yeah. Well, I mean, trying to make him feel at ease, right? Trying to make him speak.
Yeah, let's do this. Why doesn't
because we're trying to get him to talk about something he obviously doesn't naturally want to. Like,
I think
you know what I mean?
You could use Persuade for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is like the examples they give: bluffing away past a guard, haggling in a bazaar. You're not doing that as your task per se, but setting up to get the reaction from the person, like the way that Dane has done. Yeah, definitely. So who among you would like... Ooh, that's not great.
Well, that's a terrible roll.
Although he was sort of more aligning with Dane.
Yeah.
So Dane, what are you thinking? You got any of those skills seem useful?
I mean, I've got... I was to say, I've got... Yeah, he can blow him up, but I think he's got recon now. I do have recon. I appreciate it's a higher task number.
Yeah, so basically, like I was actually only going to set it at 6. This guy, unfortunately, does not have a great, at this point where he's been drinking all day, not a great poker face for it. Yeah. So your number's actually not that far off, Alonso. I'll just bump recon up by 2, so it'll be an 8 as a target number.
Okay, I'll make that roll.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so I think you can infer whatever you as a player can infer from this, but the guy, he's still... like, I guess one thing to remember is that he was a mucky muck in a union, so he's used to hard-nosed negotiation against really fucking tough opponents. So when there is that those like what we're role playing through are probably like little snippets of it that are then covered with really good bullshitting or, just a direction or deflection from it. So he is, as much as he presents as like a washed up union drunk, he's a pretty good, or at least it seems like he's a pretty good, guy at keeping his cards well hidden.
Yeah, he's still got it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
So how long do you guys wish to let this go on for?
That feels like a couple of drinks in an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, like we're too busy to just stay here all day with this, so.
Sure. And I think Hobbs, this is probably right near the end of your day too. Like it's been a long ass day of trying to catch, these things and trying to review the footage and whatever. So I think our day is winding down. Anything you wish to ask of either Hobbs? Hobbs is seemingly a little more comfortable too. He talks a little bit, like when prompted by Errol. One of the ways maybe he deflects from himself is by trying to get, Hobbs to open up a little bit. And he talks a little bit about like, life in court. It sounds like a, space fairy tale, to be honest, the way he talks about time at King Oleb's court is effectively occupied by, nobles and whatnot who all have, crazy relations to one another going back 1,600 years. And at the end of that stuff, he finally goes back. He seems more comfortable as well. Hobbs seems a little more at ease, so he will happily go back and take a rest. And then Alonso and Dane, you guys break and head back to whatever you're doing. Errol's going to stay and keep drinking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
of course. So what is there anything
I was
else?
going to check the trap, but I think now that we think the critter's somewhere else, I don't know if that's.
Oh no, sorry, Carl. I said before that you did check the trap. There was nothing in there, and it didn't look like it was disturbed.
Okay.
Okay. And then Captain Ganny, you see, I guess, Anchor go over and check that on the footage. But otherwise, you're just sitting there, your whatever space coffee sitting next to you.
I'm going through my M Drive manuals and my power plant manuals. I'm studying on my stuff. This is my ship now. I've got to know it backwards.
And Dr. Elias, how do you end your day?
Well, he normally likes to relax with some music and then some reading. But he'll probably approach Dane.
Excuse me.
If drawing upon, seeing as he knows a little bit about Dane's previous experience and his involvement or his corporation's involvement in it, given that Cassidy's file isn't entirely inaccurate about how shady we all are. If someone were to try and kill Errol, do we need to set up watch rota and keep an eye on screens all night? Is someone going to sneak down the corridor and enter his room to poison him? Or if you had to do this...
Yeah. We make sure that the passengers were on a particular day cycle.
So would Dr. Elias contact Dane separately? Like, would this be a conversation happening over comms while you guys are?
No, he'll find Dane in the the crew common room, or he'll call him to the bridge. So if others are around, but he'll just ask Dane. Okay. But not now others around, because he knows Dane doesn't like to necessarily.
The only reason I ask is I wasn't sure if Dane would go to his room from the lounge. Because if it's end of day, his room is upstairs. So is Alonso's.
Because I would have called him to say, can you come down and for a quick chat?
Yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah. So all I would suggest is that we have the passengers on a particular day cycle.
Yeah, and lock the doors at night.
And then what I would do is I would flip one of us onto, because we're operating 24/7, but we just operate on a different cycle. So. Where kind of, I would probably have to take like a night, if you like a night watch, as it were. So my day becomes the night a little bit, given that days are irrelevant largely in jump space, and take on more of a security sort of protection role during that time. It would mean that I'm less available during the day. To be honest, my duties are largely gym bunny and kind of paid provider. So I think we can live with it. And I would tend to take the sort of off time, so the night time, as it were, to provide surveillance and probably more upfront security.
So where would you see yourself when you're conducting the security or the surveillance?
So I would probably do that patch through to my room.
Okay.
Only because I don't want to have to move very far if I need to move.
Yep.
So I would make that like just my center of operations. I'd just patch it through to my room terminal.
Okay.
I would probably spend, and I would be watching the cameras during that time, and probably just on occasion, just doing a bit of a patrol up and down the corridor, checking out which room is he?
He is closest to the lounge, I believe. Actually, hold on, I got it listed here.
No, he's, according to my notes, he's opposite you.
Oh, so he's at the bottom right, and then it was Sirkani asked to swap with Timber, right?
Yes, to be closer to Arrow.
Yep.
Okay. So I guess I'll spend a little bit more time, the beginning and end of the day, as it were, in the passenger lounge as well.
Captain Gani, would you kindly give us a electronics computers roll, please?
Yep.
Nice. So you can picture this is maybe, in the evening, you've got your, the displays up to keep an eye on the cargo hold. You're sort of split, between that and studying the manuals. Is it studying the manuals to try and just like study in general, or is it to try and help narrow down where this thing might be?
No. It's got an eye on the monitors to try and see where the critter is, and otherwise he's studying to improve his skills.
Okay. So you are, you're near there, and you see there is a flickering of something on the computers. And in the sense that, like, there's a brief period where the footage goes out and then comes back on. I'm going to assume at this point this is Captain Gani sitting up late. Dr. Ilias, Anchor, and Alonso have gone to bed. Dane is starting his first shift of the night owl, kind of keeping surveillance on everyone. You don't need to check your manuals. It's not supposed to do that.
So something. Can I run a diagnosis? Is there something wrong with the? Do I see breaks in the wiring or anything?
Yeah, I think
that I can see bits of the sections of the ship aren't working properly.
You can do a quick electronics, like I think with that roll, because that's a pretty darn good roll. You can tell that there's nothing physically wrong with the ship that shows up on the diagnostics. So whatever that hiccup was, it wasn't anything to do with any physical issue. So not like a key, wire or cable or something like that got chewed up by something. And you're looking at the footage, and I think maybe I don't even know what would be moving on there's no breeze on the ship. So you would have to, I guess, maybe like do a physical inspection of the hold to make sure that the cameras are showing what's on there, or of the lounge or whatever. All even Errol has gone to bed finally at this point.
Okay.
What's on display on the bridge is showing as live. Like it's showing the accurate time. You can see the time ticking down. What would you like to do?
Odd. Now, being a suspicious man, I will go back to my locker and get my shotgun again and bring it back out, and let's go and look in the cargo bay.
Okay, you open it up and step into the cargo bay. Your feet, or the footfalls, echo on the metal, of the floor, up in this fairly cavernous area, and then carried down by the, or focused by the racks of boxes and crates and such. Looking around up and down each of the aisles methodically, everything seems to be in order. If you want to do a more careful inspection, that's probably a recon type roll, and it could take time. But at a cursory inspection, what you saw on the display is precisely what's on here. And I'll even give you that if you go in and check the trap, there doesn't appear to be anything. It's as Anchor last described it to you. Trap's undisturbed and untriggered.
Then if I can't see anything, I'm going to go back and I'll put it in the ship's log so that when Anchor comes on later, he'll be able to see what I detected.
So I think we can fast. You would know that Dane is up right now as well, because you guys had discussed that change in the shift rotation. If you wanted to share with him or see if he noticed anything as well, you could certainly do so.
Yep. I would do that then. I'm not comfortable with unexplained things happening on my ship. So
okay.
Yep.
He's security, so I'll go tell him.
Okay. So you head up. So Dane, you're drinking whatever soy calf. I've been reading a lot of Shadowrun lately, so I expect to see a lot of Shadowrun references, chummers. But what you hear of kind of the whatever, like the tone that comes to as the ship doorbell.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just check the cameras. I'll double check.
You look at the camera. It's the captain standing outside.
Okay, I'll let him in. Yeah.
Okay. So you step in. Captain, what do you tell him?
I'll say there's some anomalies going on in the ship's power. It doesn't seem to be the ship itself, but there's something affecting it.
Can you say anomalies? Is it substantial? Is it minor? Is it outside of the tolerances that you would expect?
No, it's not what I'd expect. It's not immediately threatening to the ship, but I don't like it.
It's not our space rats chewing through sort of power coupling converter cables.
Doesn't seem to be that. That's what I checked for, but not that.
Somebody's messing around. Where can you control such things? Is it only in engineering?
Control what things?
Sort of power fluctuations. I mean, sort of power control of the ship. Would it be the bridge and engineering?
I think there's probably relays all across the ship, so depending on what system is being affected, it potentially could be.
Okay. Okay, then let's look at violations of ship access to the sort of main crew control of the computer system on the ship. Is there anything that we can check through the logs in terms of any? Well, basically, you said Shadowrun, so let's go straight for it. Any hacking going on here?
What for the cursory inspection without making any dice rolls is there doesn't seem to be any like violations of access. What I'm imagining is that at basic, like everyone's got in their ship, there's certain access, whether it's a physical computer or whether it's just like a access point, like a router. You could pair your computer to it and then have access to whatever the main kind of console for the ship. There is a bit of like firewalls set up between so that the average person doesn't accidentally set their reactor to overload or whatever. Yeah. But they are all active. They're all sort of connected. From what you can tell, no one has gone beyond whatever was limited or whatever was allowed. But you certainly could try and make rolls to try and determine otherwise.
Yeah. I probably would want to. I might not be the right person to. I've got a computer one, but I probably want to just. Whilst keeping an eye on what's going on outside, as it were, just have a check of not only any unusual access permissions. That'd be like any overrides of permissions or any access by supposedly crew members, which may be a jumped account at unusual times, or indeed an unusual pattern of crew activity on the system. So anything that is anomalous, but not specifically, obvious that we've got an interloper.
Yeah.
But maybe someone's riding through crew access to do something a little bit unusual. So just any fluctuations.
That, I think, to do, I'm just looking at the sample tasks they give in here. So one of them is searching a corporate database for evidence of illegal activity. It's a difficulty 10 electronics check. It does D6 hours. But the thing is, I think you can't split focus between that and trying to... unless you're setting up some kind of alarm system or something like that, that would require a fairly intensive review, and it would require a fair amount of attention. So
I'd put that recommendation to Gani. I'd make that recommendation. Someone just does a more deeper.
I can get going on that. I've got computers.
Thank
as
you.
well.
I don't think I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then why don't we, am I right in thinking that are Captain Gani and Dane keeping kind of the same schedule right now, and the others are keeping the opposite sort of, like the day as it were schedule, or did you just happen to be up late tonight, Captain?
Well, I'd be, I guess, the opposite of Anchor.
Okay.
Because of...
Okay. So then give us a 1d6 roll, please, Captain.
1d6.
So many hours it'll take. So then you can determine if you want to take extra time.
I kind of imagine the captain takes the opposite schedule of the passengers.
Yeah, real. So that'll be 5 hours for this. The next step up in the time scale, is it on the
5 days, isn't it?
Yeah, so that might be.
I'm probably not going for that.
Okay. I'm seeing if it's on the, what do you call it, referee's screen. Yep. It's just it's times 4 hours. So if you potentially could be shorter, but
no, I think I'll just go with
just try with it as. Okay. So why don't you give us a electronics computers check, please? Nice.
Wow.
So,
beauty.
That's so good. What you find is that there does appear to be someone who has accessed the overall systems in the ship from one of the crew quarters, and at initial at first brush, what it appears to be is Sirkani's access, but it actually appears to be Timber, who has tried to put one level of deception behind this hack to make it look as if it's Sirkani. But you're fairly confident it's Timber who's done that. This is not the average person who, even a really skilled someone who's skilled and conversant with computers could pull this kind of thing off. This is a infiltration, electronic infiltration expert kind of thing.
Could I suggest that?
Now we get to see why we use shotguns inside a ship instead of Gauss weapons. It doesn't puncture this.
So you can see that it doesn't appear that there's anything apart from accessing the cameras. It doesn't appear that there's anything else that's been done thus far. But this is the kind of level of access that could allow you to do almost anything else that the bridge could do.
Could I suggest there's a sad and unfortunate malfunction in the computer access point in Timber's quarters? We are working on it, and we apologise profusely for any,
But he accessed it from the crew.
He accessed from his quarters, made it look like it was coming from Sirkani's quarters, but the level of access he has presently has been basically the same that would come from the bridge. Yeah. Which means he may have access to the cameras right now. cameras that have displays of the bridge, the lounge where you guys are talking, one of those two, the hallways, the cargo bay.
We need to shut down his access.
Yep. Okay, let's do that indeed. And get us disconnect him from the ship.
Okay.
It's those space vermin. That really is causing us all sorts of problems.
Let's see here. Why don't you give us a computers? This actually, you try to just simply do that, and it appears that it has been overridden. So this is going to require a bit of like, someone has a. Well, you realize too. Remember, you guys could hear the conversation that was happening in the lounge before. So whatever conversation you guys are having on the bridge, if he has access, he may hear what you were saying. If you wish to shut off the access, it will require a more invasive computers check.
And if you want me to space
shotgun.
Fine.
Anger gets up for his crew and sees there's a shotgun blast in the console. What the fuck did you guys do last night?
I was restricting computer access.
How is Anger's computer score? Is he the... Like, I'm wondering, you guys would be aware of who's...
He's sensors. He's
Sensors.
more sensors.
Okay, got it. That's his big thing. Okay. So then, if you'd like, you can make another electronics computers check, either of you guys, to try and shut down the his access.
I'll try since I'm on it, and I'm very unhappy.
Okay.
But not sure I'll get that lucky again. But
that's actually good enough. It seems as that you are confident, and it wasn't again like this the sort of active. You know, again, I have no idea what the fucking actual hacking is supposed to be like, but the sort of movie hacking you're seeing, you can imagine on his end, there's trying to do, you know, trying to forestall the shut off of it. He's changing access for you. You restore access for yourself, and you're finally able to shut it off. You're confident that he does not have access to the cameras any longer.
So again, he's sitting in the bridge, smiles grimly to himself. Welcome to the 404 era here.
So Dane, you and the captain are on the bridge. He's got the shotgun, or his shotgun, leaning against the console still. What do you two do next?
Dane, I have problems with people on the ship interfering with my vessel.
Oh, I don't want you to have problems, Gani. I don't like it when you have problems. Would you like me to help you solve that problem?
Indeed. Is there an airlock up there?
I can make one.
So how would you handle this then? As you're the security expert.
We incarcerate him for the rest of the journey. We can take the hit from the money point of view, but I think we've already taken his money. So what the hell? We could just play it as a security incident, and we have concerns for his own safety, and we lock him down. It's either that or I threaten him, but I don't think threatening him is going to do the job. I think we need to isolate him.
Make it so then.
Yeah, I'll take options from the crew. I mean, if there's anyone got any better ideas, I'll take it. I'm a consultative assassin, you know, rather than just.
So it's only the two of you who are up right now. The rest of the crew is asleep. If you want to wake up the rest of the crew and bring him up to speed on what's going on, you can do that. The only thing is, Alonso is, just remember, he's upstairs and would walk past Timber's quarters in order to come back down.
Okay. I'm going to make my way quickly back up to the passenger area.
Okay.
I don't want to leave that unwatched for any longer than it needs to be.
Okay.
I think what I will do is I will put out a ship message now that I feel that I probably can safely to state the action that we're going to take.
To like ship wide or just to the crew?
No, to the crew.
Okay.
To the crew.
So each of you is woken up. You know, kind of. You hear the pinging of the ship, the comm with the crew. Now, what do you guys say?
It's a ship message, which will effectively say, we've got strong evidence that Tim Bartolwi is undertaking hacking of the ship's system with potential damaging effect to the ship, but mostly to control access to cameras and probably to further our concerns about Errol Mailter. As such, I'm proposing that we close down his access. We have closed down his access to the ship systems. Thanks, Gunny. And now we intend to close down his access to the ship. Happy to take any other comments, but I'm going to go and do that now.
Yeah, I mean,
He was also looking to
can...
frame Sirkani, interestingly.
Oh, interestingly.
Captain, you can see as you guys are discussing this, Talwi has thrown open his door and he is running down the hallway to get to the access point to go back down to the cargo area.
He's going to run in.
I will hit the big red button to set the alarms off and grab my auto shotgun.
Okay.
Oh, great. Does everything go dark and then it goes red light? Like old times. Yes.
So let's do this. He has a destination. We have, just to set the stage here, Alonzo is in his quarters. Dr. Ilias is in his quarters. Anchor is in his quarters. Captain Ganny is on the bridge. And Dane, you're in your quarters right now?
Yep.
Okay. So there's a chance you could try and catch him before he gets there. Why don't we make a contested athletics check and to see who's faster here?
Okay.
Okay.
Come on, all these years of training. Mind you, how many years of training has he had? It's always the quiet ones.
Yeah.
Can't you lock down access?
For...
I don't know, just...
No, not for these things. Like there, you can install that stuff, but it's more expensive and it's a more elaborate. It's a more elaborate process. There's not like a button you can hit to lock everyone down. So I actually got an 11 on my roll, so I'm a little bit better. So I think what you can see is as you throw your door open, he's just slamming that hanger right here closed.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's not like a loading thing that he has. He's not smirking or anything like that. This dude seems to be all business. So, Captain, what were you doing during this?
I'd be running aft to... Since I was seeing him, he was heading that way. I'm going to be heading down towards... to the back to see when he's coming down here. Yeah,
okay.
So there. I'm
so
going to
be
trying to get him.
Let's make another athletics check. And I guess you guys can assume, because of the microbeats that Anchor gave you, everyone's hearing this happen all at once. Is anyone else doing anything?
Yeah, Anchor's going to try to get over there too. Probably try to secure this. This to me is a critical area. Critical.
Yeah, most definitely.
Jump drive and maneuver drive.
Okay.
So he's going to grab his Gauss pistol and head that way.
Okay.
Alonzo's getting up to just secure the hallway with all the other passengers, just in case anybody is poking their head out, so that he can sort of just keep an eye out and say, like, no, stay in your room, or, whatever.
Okay.
He's getting to the hallway, the passenger hallway.
And Doctor?
Ilias is grabbing his medikit. He's not familiar with violence as such, but he has seen the after effect of violence, so he'll know someone will need patching up potentially. So,
okay.
But he'll stay out of the cargo hold until he sort of gets an all clear from Ghani or Dane.
Dane, would you give us a recon check, please?
I can do that now.
So see if you've noticed something.
Let's have a look.
There's a low difficulty as well in this one too.
Okay. Yeah, my dice rolling hasn't been too stunning. There you go. Look at that.
Okay. So here's the thing: is that you could not. The benefit you get though is you could not see what's in his hands. So if the guy's got a weapon or he's got something else or whatnot, who knows?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now, Anchor and Captain Ganny. So Captain Ganny, you come racing out of the bridge through that as yet unseen door in time to see Anchor, step out with his gun. Why don't you each give us an athletics check? Let's see how fast you can get to the far side.
No, not good.
A little too much time sitting studying.
Too busy racking my shotgun.
Yeah.
No modifier.
Nice. But Anchor sprints out of the door and just like weaves through these things. I think this, as a officer in the military or in the Navy, Captain Ganny, maybe you didn't spend as much time having to run through bulkheads and stuff like that, or run through corridors. Anchor has that down pat, so he just weaves back and forth. Anchor, you've got yourself in a position right here. So, but when they come down that whatever it is, the ladder, you're gonna be there, and you're certainly free to ready an action if you'd like.
Yeah, I guess there's there's like cover and stuff right around.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna probably get. I might try to. Is there any way I can make it all the way to here, or am I making it in the middle?
Yeah,
of the cargo
so what I'm picturing is that this is all this shit is full of like if you picture like this is a terrible reference, but the Lethal Weapon 2, where they're all making their way through the stacked crates or the cargo containers. Yeah, what this guy plans on doing, this is my long homage to Lethal Weapon 2, is he's going to open up and say diplomatic immunity. So that's sort of what you're picturing you're running through, Carl. You can position yourself wherever you like. You made a really good roll.
Put a little. So I'm going to try to get myself like here, and actually, hopefully Dane will catch up. But I'm trying to get myself here with an eye on this airlock here.
Sure. So I think it's probably opens up in this direction here. So you get yourself there. Do you want to have your gun up? Do you want to?
Yeah, the gun will be up.
Are you shooting as soon as you see him, or are you waiting?
No, I'm gonna give him a. We're good guys, so I'm gonna give him a chance to surrender. But,
Dane's like, eh.
Well, then I'll be a target as Dane comes up behind him and
so you got yourself in position there. The gun is up. You can hear the sound of Captain Ganny's feet, running through this whole hallway when Timber throws the door open and he steps out and then sees you. What you can see, he's got in one hand there is a it looks like a knife of some kind. It's not like a proper knife. It's a short blade with a handle on it that looks like it may have been either fabricated or it may have been concealed in something else. It's not like a proper combat knife. But in his other hand, you can see he's got what looks like some kind of high-tech toolkit. So he stops and sees you, and there's almost no expression on his face. He's got that same focused look that you can see in his illustration. And he's just glaring at you. He doesn't say anything. Do you say anything?
I say, drop everything, get on your knees. If not, I'm going to shoot you.
Okay. And then Captain Ganny, you have enough time. You run up as well. You got your shotgun ready. What do you do when you see it? Seems like Anchor has his pistol trained on this guy. And it's exactly as I described. He's got knife in one hand, the toolkit in the other. By the time you get there, he has not dropped either of them. Well, what do you do?
No, I will stand there and aim, but I don't fire immediately. Okay.
So this guy is looking back and forth between the two of you. You can hear Dane. I'm trying to think what you would need to do to open that thing. There's got to be some way of securing the bulkhead, but I can't imagine that it locks necessarily.
No, yeah, it's probably largely there just to sort of provide internal sort of pressure.
Yeah,
security
so
for the ship.
I think you guys can hear Dane. You've thrown the door open, and you're making your way down. So this guy is kind of like looking at you, looking at that, looking back behind, and that is when you guys hear this terrible screeching from on top of one of the things, and there's something that looks like a combination of like a weasel and an otter and an iguana that is on top of this thing that kind of hacks at all of you guys just long enough that it may serve as a distraction. So what I'd like everyone to do, and I'm going to roll for Timber, if that's his real name, is I think, boy, what do we think here? I think recon to kind of maintain focus, maybe, but I don't want to keep using that skill for everything. Do you guys have any suggestions for Maybe tactics.
Tactics,
also-
military.
Yeah, like tactics not a direct analog for it, but I think it's something just so we're not using the same darn skill every time. You guys have any other suggestions?
Not really.
Well,
really?
I'd rather just use my gun combat, I guess, because if you,
On the
no,
credit?
just
Well, this is to see
well,
whether you
no,
react.
just to keep your concentration. I mean, if you're used to shooting and it's a combat,
I don't know if that one
situation, would
fits.
that work?
Only because because it's more of a manual skill rather than it is a more high level keeping your cool kind of thing. I think it would be something that would be more cerebral than just your thing. Although, you know what you could do? Let's do this. You could also use gun combat because that also reflects your ability to keep your head. We'll just use a different stat because the game lets you do that. So why don't we do?
Oh, right. You can change what attribute is being called on.
And I think it'll be intelligence. There's not really a willpower score in here, but intellect is probably the closest. Yeah. So why don't you guys give us, if gun combat is your better score, Anchor, Captain Gani, and Dane, give us a whatever skill you want plus intelligence. I've got my roll done, so I know what your difficulty is. Look at that, you guys. Saving the big rolls for the end. Everyone is going to be able to act. This guy's trying to take advantage of that stuff. All of you beat him. So starting with Gani, this guy is racing towards Anchor with his knife up. What do you wish to do?
I will give him a shotgun blast.
Go right ahead.
Oh my god.
Any modifiers?
For this, let's see here. I'm just going to it's our first sign of violence in this game. So it's appropriate. It's the captain defending his ship. And let me see here. Here we go. Destructive weapons. I like the sound of that. Let's see.
Oh yeah, because shotgun's got a lot of weird effects, doesn't it?
Yeah, doesn't it? Because it's got the traits in this aren't as onerous as they are in some other games, but I know there are some in this. Shotgun has bulky as a trait, which is in the combat section. Bulky is powerful recoil. Makes it difficult to use effectively when someone's weak. So if you're you must have strength of 9 or higher to use it without penalty. So your strength 9?
Ooh, that's not good.
Okay. If it isn't, you take minus. You have a negative dice modifier equal to the difference between your strength and 9.
Oh wow, I never realised that.
Wow.
That's not good. Then I better get rid of this weapon.
Well, let's see what happens first. So what is your strength?
6.
6. So he's minus 3, but it is short range, which is plus 1. So why don't you give us a gun combat with a minus 2.
2. Yeah, and he can't dodge if I remember right. There's something around a non.
He's actually, you're acting before him, so he's not going to be able to. Woof. So that is a hit.
Wow, well done.
So he is spun to the side. Not down, though. Next up is Dane. You've sort of landed on the ground.
Yeah,
I rolled 4d6 and got 4.
Yeah.
You rolled 4 1s. Is that right?
That's not. There's no way that's right. Because it didn't even show
That's
it
what
running.
it
Did you put?
says,
Is there a D6 you put in, or did you put 4D?
No, it just says
4D equals 4. Yeah, it doesn't even say.
Hold on. Where's your character sheet? Let's see.
I can't. It says rolling 4d and says equals 4.
Right, but it doesn't.
Seems highly unlikely.
Yeah, I think. Oh, hold on. You know what? I think you guys copied the numbers the way that's displayed in Traveler as opposed to the way that Roll20 does it. So we have to put the 6s in.
Oh.
I'll bet you that's what happened. Why don't you try again with your... just roll it once again. Let's see if that fixed it.
Okay, yeah. Let's just... I'll roll it again.
There we
That's
go.
more like it.
That's
Yep. So
That's it.
if you have entered the code as 4D, just make sure you're adding a 6 afterwards for it. Yeah, no, that is...
That's a bit more ouchy.
we do not need quite as much of what you're going to do, Dane, because this guy is a paste on the floor. Because he's not wearing any armor or anything, so... Yeah, Anchor, you're about to fire on this guy too, and just Captain Ganny's trigger finger is just a little faster. At the sound of the shotgun going off, that iguana otter weasel goes and scampers off elsewhere into the what do you call it, the cargo bay. What happens next, guys? So you can picture Dane, you run out, and you can see that this is the case. Anchor still got his gun trained on this guy, but
okay. I shout, "Stand down! He's mine!" I go to him, unarmed melee, and I stand on his hand so that his knife, if it's still in his hand, is squeezed out of his hand. So he's
I'm
effectively
actually
unarmed.
not sure. I need to double check. I think he may not be.
Conscious.
Yeah, because 18. He would need to have at least a 6 in 3 stats to still be amongst the travelers.
Yeah, like once you 0 and 2 stats, you're unconscious. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so I stand on his hand anyway, and
what's in the box? That's what
You're
I'm.
an evil bugger.
So you stand on him. He is definitely very badly hurt, and I think that those of you who are on the sound deadening is probably good enough that you can't hear gunshots elsewhere in the ship. Right, so unless you're in unless you're in here with the other areas closed, I don't know if even a shotgun blast would be heard elsewhere.
It's a cycled airlock.
Yeah. So with so Dane has him secured. Captain Ganny and Anchor, what are you guys doing?
I'm gonna. Dane has him his hand, just in case. Who knows? But I'm gonna go and check out the box he had in his hand.
The box he had in his hand is some kind of it's like a TL12 mechanics kit.
Okay. Okay, good. It's not a. Okay.
There also seems to be something else in there that you need not identify too closely or spend too much time identifying, because you've seen it's the equivalent of the placed explosives charge.
Oh, but it's not activated or anything. You didn't have a chance.
Not activated. No.
Okay. Oof, I moved that away.
It's not unless the amount that's in here is not the kind that could breach a hull, or at least not breach a hull and cause a catastrophic failure, but it is certainly enough to really fuck up one or two of your systems.
Damage jump drive, which would be fatal. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I say I get. Well, there you go. He wanted to blow up the ship. Hey, I stopped a conspiracy before it happened, or we did.
Yeah.
I moved that away from him. You get it out of the way.
Okay. Now my immediate.
I don't know if there's anyone. Does anyone like I'm not a demolitions guy. I'm a mechanic, but I'm not a.
Yeah, I can blow things up.
Dr. Ilias and Alonso, you can hear this back and forth going on over your comms as well, so you can feel free to jump in or say.
Well, maybe Dane will switch positions. I'll put my paw on his hand, and you make sure the explosives are secure.
Yep. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Dr. Ilias would rush in to, if possible, see if Timber is still with us or can be saved or prevented from bleeding out.
Sure.
Or has to be declared dead on.
Yeah. He pulls the white sheet out of his med kit.
Are there any empty low berths, or are they all full?
All the low berths are full right now.
Oh, okay.
But if you let's see here.
Well, we can give someone an upgrade to a stateroom.
Yeah.
Empty now.
Yeah, maybe
Free
Alonso. Since Alonso's up there, maybe he can check out his room.
I can go check out his room
because he left it open. He swung it open, right? So
sure. Yeah.
Well, and we would have access to it.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's true.
Okay. So let's just do this in a little. Oh, God damn it! It's 9 minutes off from close. You know what, guys? We're going to find out in 2 weeks' time. That's not even me trying to be dramatic here. Like I genuinely looked at the clock and like, God,
good shooting,
nice.
Captain.
Yeah. So what this person we've got?
Don't mess with my ship.
We've got Dr. Ilias running into the corridor to see if this guy can be saved. We've got Dane looking at the materials that were used to try and see if something can be gained from that. We've got Alonzo going into this guy's quarters, and Anchor making sure this guy does not get away. And that brings us to the end of session 3, guys. So eventful session today. My goodness. Let's move us over to the thing here and bring us to the outro. All right. So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for part 3 of the Borderland Run campaign. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section of the video, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. In addition, there's a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, and we have a channel. Can't remember if we got a channel dedicated for Traveler right now, but probably should set that up. If not, we do have channels dedicated to every other game we run on the channel, as well as a assorted games channel where we do talk about Traveler, I believe, and related games like what's the Cepheus? Is it just called Cepheus? What's the knockoff?
It's either Cepheus Engine or Cepheus Deluxe.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, those. So there is, so you're more than welcome to join us over there as well. There's also a link down below. The top link you'll see if you look through the description of this video. One of them is to the coffee and the Patreon for Owen Casey Stevens. Owen Casey Stevens is a prolific creator for RPGs for the past, 20 years. You've seen his name on Starfinder products and Pathfinder products and D&D 3rd products, D&D 4th products, and on Star Wars Saga Edition, and amongst a bunch of other things. His name is in the new Fantasy Age our version, the 2nd edition of Fantasy Age RPG. He has had a rough run of luck or health of the last couple of years, and then very recently he has been diagnosed with cancer. He is going to be undergoing treatment for that, and he is an American, which means there's going to be costs associated with that, plus there is going to be costs associated with undergoing treatment, just trying to cover living expenses. We're going to be running next weekend a charity session or a fundraising session to try and raise some money for him as well. But you can find links down below to his coffee and his Patreon. You can also find a bunch of his gaming products on Drive Through RPG under the Rogue Genius name. So if you want to try and help Owen out, those are ways that you can do so. And then I'll have more information in the coming week about that fundraising session. So that is one way to help out. I mentioned this the last couple of weeks since we found out about this, that comics have sorted out a way of supporting creators in need through this charity called the Hero Initiative. Gaming does not have that kind of thing yet. But with, and it's worth, 2 days ago was the 10th anniversary death of, Dave Trampier? Who, likewise, from what I understand, it was a major contributor to making D&D what it was artistically early on, and then likewise had a kind of a crisis. There are creators who are not with us anymore, and this is a creator who is with us who could use some help, rather than us just eulogizing them after they've passed about how much we like their games, as a way of showing support and thanking someone who has contributed to the community and the hobby in a time when they really do need help. So there's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an amazing selection of new RPGs, board games, and card games, they also have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs, including the FASA Doctor Who box set, which will be arriving in my door sometime tomorrow. Hopefully. They have a great selection of hard-to-find out-of-print RPGs, and if they don't have in stock what you're looking for, you can often put on a want list what you're looking for. They will send you an email when it comes in, and you can pick it up then. If you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code THEMUSE at checkout, and you will save yourself 10% on your purchase. In addition, there is also a link down below to the Heroes Save Villages campaign. That's the charity fundraising campaign we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really amazing organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphan and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts at the time of recording in Ukraine and the surrounding countries. All donations that go through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman, just goes to help out those kids. And we have two small ways of saying thank you. One of them is if you donated $10 or more, you get a chance to vote on any of the charity sessions up until end of June. We have one more charity session for this year that is part of our year-long Year of Ill Omens campaign. We've had two great sessions so far with which have been shaped by the donors. The donors have voted on the Charity Initiatives channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server for the different elements of that. So if you donated $10 or more to the charity since January 1st, 2023, head on over there, cast your vote. We're currently voting on what era we'll be playing in and what time period specifically we'll be playing in. And there's some pretty, the front runner for that one looks pretty fucking cool so far. Like we're going to be playing something in around the era of the Boxer Rebellion in the 19th century. But voting is still open for that. And then however that one goes, you will have two more rounds of voting too to help vote on what game we're going to use, what kind of heroes we'll be playing, and what connections to the first two sessions we've played. You can find those under the Year of Ill Omens playlist if you want to watch those. And finally, if you donate $25 or more, every $25 not only gives you a chance to vote on the charity sessions, it also gives you a chance to win the grand prize or one of the other great prizes in our next charity raffle. You can find information about that on the Charity Initiatives channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart travelers. So, Jeffrey, Carl, James, David, and Graham, thank you so much for playing today, guys. Once again, it's a sign of a good session when I can't believe how fast the time has gone by. So, guys, thanks so much. This was a lot of fun today. So I look forward to seeing what you guys choose to do next. I'm sure this is the end of the problems. I mean, come on. Like, this is, you already shot a guy. Nothing else could go wrong, right? All right. So then we'll be back aboard the Rift Wanderer in 2 weeks' time. But until then, we hope that we gave you a couple of hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our travelers are encountering on their simple milk run to bring some people from one planet to another. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.